Hello, is this thing on? How are we doing today? Oh boy. A little bit of an earlier stream today, guys. I do have commitments this afternoon, and I don't really want to do like a, 2-hour stream, because there's just no real point to just doing 2 hours, but I did want to stream today. So the times are going to be a little bit earlier, but big news on one end. I've got a pin message in the live chat at the moment that you might notice, but we've got a Discord server now. Basically, I spent most of yesterday evening trying to set up this thing. It'd been recommended to me quite a few times by people, and honestly, it's something that I should have set up like ages ago. Like, let's be honest. So yeah, I spent a few hours setting up this Discord server. We got a few people in already, which is really, really cool. Thank you to anyone that's already joined the Discord server. It's just more of a way of like being able to... Well, it's for a few things. One thing is I found it really hard to communicate with you guys through YouTube community feed. Like, I'd have to post a message and then hope that it gets seen amongst, like, all the other videos and stuff, like, that are on your feed. It's just, like, really, really awkward for people to see, like, me updating and stuff. It's just not a realistic way of talking to people. So, the Discord server it's quite a few things, actually. It's, basically a way of keeping track of my schedule, what's going on, updates to Windwalker, but then there's also like the added benefits of maybe like talking about Brewmaster and Mistweaver as well, because I know that some people play the whole class, not the whole spec, unlike someone in particular who just kind of plays Windwalker. But it's a good way. It'd be a good way to keep track of everything. I've also got like... Here, I'll put up on screen and show you what my basic ideas were for the server. It's nowhere complete, but the idea is that it's like a good starting place, so... let's, can we full screen this? Hello, Nom Pies. Hey man, will you do any guide for Windwalker 2 on release of Season 2? Love the content. Thank you so much, I'm really glad that you like the content. Yes, the answer is yeah. For sure. I'm 100% going to do a Season 2 guide. The idea for the Season 2 guide is it's going to be nowhere near as, like, extensive as the one that I initially put out for Windwalker. The idea behind the main Windwalker one that I put out was it kind of covers everything from, like, the basics of how to play Windwalker all the way to, like, stuff like how you do the rotation for Season 1, Season 2, looking at talents. So, pretty much, like, the entire first section of that video won't exist in the new one, if that makes sense. Like, I don't need to go over, like, the basics of mastery and stuff like that. There'll definitely be a guide that goes through everything to do with Season 2. So it'll be looking at, like, best in slot gear, what's our best stats, what do you want to aim for. It'll definitely go over Shadow Pan, rotation and things like that, single target, AoE, and then Celestial of the Conduits, which is probably going to be the, like, largest chapter of the entire thing, because out of anything that's happened to Windwalker so far, it's the changes to Conduit of the Celestial. I mean, there've been so many. We'll also go through like all the changes that have happened to Windwalker. So it won't be as extensive as the first one, but it will definitely be out before Season 2. I haven't started it yet. There's no real point in me making it at this point, because I could go and make this video right now, get it out like next week or something, and then they just change like a bunch of stuff on the PTR, and then suddenly I'm feeding everybody false information, and it's a bit like, or like stuff that gets like instantly like changed. Like, I don't mind if I put out a guide and then they change it a few like weeks after release, because then I can make like a short like 2-minute, 3-minute video that goes over some of the changes. But I don't want people to watch this video and go into Season 2 with like completely the wrong idea about how it plays. So yes, yeah, there will definitely be a video. But yeah, I've created this Discord server. The main point of it is it's a good place like for me to basically pops up any of my videos that come up. I've got all my guides kind of in the same place, some Mythic Plus stuff. Also gives like notifications of live streams and stuff like that. But then I've also got like some tabs here where we can talk about Windwalker changes, Brewmaster, Mistweaver, just kind of like a community sort of thing. It's very early stages, and there's a few things I want to do as well. Like, I was thinking whilst I was starting off this stream today that I'd like to maybe have like a weak aura tab, because I get asked loads of questions about like weak auras for Windwalker. So it'd be cool to have like a resource tab or something like that, where I have all the weak auras that you should probably like get as a Windwalker. Like Treacherous Transmitter, for instance. I got asked that question like 10, 20 times through YouTube comments. It'd be real cool to have like just weak auras of, okay, so here's your Treacherous Transmitter 1. Oh, what's that? You're playing a Void Elf? Well, here, have this weak aura that will help you keep track of your Void Elf. Stuff like that I think is cool. So I'm going to constantly building this up, but at the moment it's very bare bones, I guess. I basically just did everything I could to make the server. But yeah, if you want to join, feel free to. And yeah, that'll be great. All right, I'm not going to plug the Discord anymore today. Understandable. My initial guide helped me out a lot, so just minor one for the changes will be plenty. I'm glad to see Windwalker performing well in Season 2. Feels like the first time since Shadowlands. Yeah, I mean, on the PTR, it feels really, really fun. In all my, like, raid testing and all my dungeon testing, I'm not doing, like, bad damage. Especially with Celestial of the Conduit, and even Shadowpan to an extent in the raids, I was, like, pumping out damage. But then, the one thing to consider is Windwalker got a lot of early PTR changes, if that makes sense. Like, we got a lot of quality of life, and we got a lot of buffs early on compared to other classes. So now what I'm noticing is that, like last week, for instance, they brought out a lot of changes to other classes, like buffs here, buffs there, but nothing for Windwalker. So my only, like, cautious thing to be is, although we look, like, really good at the moment, it might just be because Blizzard focused on us early. Like, I don't want to be negative and say, oh, we're probably going to suck, because at the moment it feels really, really fun, but I don't want people to, like, here's what I'm thinking. I'm a Windwalker main, right? I'm going to play Windwalker no matter what it is, right? If Windwalker sucks, I play it. If Windwalker good, I play it. But if you're on, like, teeter on the fence, you know, if you have multiple classes that you play and you're not sure about Windwalker, I don't want to, like, say Windwalker's going to be amazing, you know, then you grind fully on your Windwalker, you get into raid, and suddenly we're not doing as good as you could have been on your other class. I don't want to falsely represent it. So at the moment it looks good, but it might not be how it is on live. So it's just kind of a little disclaimer I have. Like, I don't want you to message me at like 11.1 release and be like, you told me to play Windwalker. Why is it doing no damage? I'm sorry. I thought it would. You know what I mean? But if you play Windwalker, if you're like a die-hard Windwalker like me and you don't really care how we're doing, you just enjoy the class and spec, then you'll be happy with the changes regardless. Everything's been super fun quality of life. Class feels better. You know, changes to spinning crane kick and stuff, just, they feel so good, you know? Like, at first I was a little bit like, not annoyed, but like, a little bit like, oh, they're taking away a bit of the quality of, not quality of life, but like, the skill expression from Mark of the Crane. But then when I looked at the whole picture, I was like, actually, you know what? You always had 5 stacks of Mark of the Crane. There was no real skill expression there. It was just annoying when you didn't have 5 stacks because your Strike of the Windlord was on cooldown or Storm Earth and Fire. Really, it just makes it more consistent. So it'll make it nicer for people just starting to play Windwalker. But even at like a higher level, it just makes it like something you don't have to micromanage as much, which is like Celestial of the Conduit has become such a micromanaged thing now that it just takes away another aspect that you really have to focus on. So it's kind of cool there. I played Windwalker since MOP, on and off, because I like the playstyle. I love the smoothness of it regardless. It would be fun to play in higher keys rather than having to go into meta classes. Yeah, I mean, I know what you mean. Realistically, with Mythic Plus, I'll be dead honest, I don't think Windwalker can ever be meta for Mythic Plus in the high keys. Just because of, like, our AoE target caps and stuff. There are just classes that can always do Mythic Plus better. I think if Windwalker's ever going to be, like, bis at anything, it'll be raiding, where you're not as limited by target caps and stuff. Like, if you, I was watching the Great Push, is it called? The MDI thing that they're doing at the moment. And every group consisted of 2 shamans, a priest, a paladin, and I think it was a druid or something. Not a single monk to be seen. And all those classes the DPS have in common is they have, like, uncapped AoE, you know, there was DK as well. Like, they all absolutely pump. So unless they got, like, insanely significant nerfs, I don't think, like, you can do high keys, right? I'm not saying monks, Windwalkers can't do high keys, but it'll never be, like, meta for Mythic Plus. Like, I think the last time we were meta, in quotation marks, for Mythic Plus was the start of Dragonflight. And then, like, there was this chart that came out that showed, like, the class variety as the season went on. And you could see the monk one getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until there was no monk left in the chart. I think it was about the time Orgvokers came out or something like that. And then Orgvokers are just too strong with other classes. Like, the ones that have no uncapped AoE, they buff so much that it pushes all the others to the ground. So it doesn't mean you can't do high keys. Like, if you can get a good group that you're with, that you work well with, you mesh well with, like, you can do high keys, but it'll always be harder and tougher with a Windwalker. Just because anything over 5 targets and suddenly we are just not bad, but not good. So we're a little bit stuffed in that regard, and that's why, in my opinion, I think we can't be particularly like meta for M+. But raiding's a different story. I think we can definitely be meta for raiding, because most of the time it's single target with ads here and there. Unless it's a boss like Ovanax, for instance, where you've got like 20 ads up at all times. It's not too bad. But a lot of the bosses in the raid are quite single target geared. Like Vexy and the Gear Grinders, single target boss with 4 ads that spawn like every so often. So what's that? 5 targets. That's almost like perfect for Windwalker. Cauldron of Carnage, pretty much a single target fight. So if our single target's good, we'll be aight. Rick Reverb, same thing as Vexy, single target boss with ads every so often, 4 ads. You know, it kind of works out all right. Stick Bug Junk is a little bit different in that he's a single target boss, but he summons a lot of ads. So we might be one of those instances where you kind of fall off a little bit compared to classes that can do mass AoE. Sprocket Monger Lockenstock, fully single target boss fight. So this could be a good one for Windwalker as well, if our single target comes out on top. One Arm Bandit is a single target boss with just like 2 ads. 2 or so ads that spawn every so often. No, don't quote me on that, it's 3 ads. But you know what I mean, but they're quite spread out. So once again, this tier is not like a massive ad tier. Whereas I feel like Nuremberg Palace, there were a lot of ads. We had Ulgrax that spawned like 100 of them. We had... Even Bloodbound Horror had quite a few ads when he started spawning the little ones. Silken Court has ads here and there. Ansarak, you could end up with tons of ads if you wanted them. Especially on the platforms and whatnot, but we didn't struggle too much. Ansarak was kind of a good fight for us. What other bosses were there? Rashanan, tons of ads that spawn all the time. They get one shot by your warriors and your demon hunters, and suddenly you can't hit anything. So overall, it's not too bad, like raid-wise, I think. I haven't tested Mugsy, so I'm not too sure like how many ads there are. From this adventure guide, it looks like there's a fair few that you're gonna have to deal with. So maybe it might not be our best fight. And Gallywix, I ain't got a clue. I don't think it's going to be a single target fight, just from this picture, to be honest. But we don't really have any information on this guy. Could be whatever. Could be crazy. But yeah, I think if we're going to shine, it'll be raid. Mythic plus high keys is just not our forte, unfortunately. Hey, do you have any information on Windwalkers in PvP for 11.1? No, Matthias, I do not. I don't PvP at all. I'm probably the last person you ever want in your PvP. Luckily, there are quite a few Windwalker, like, PvP YouTubers. I don't know who they are off the top of my head, but I know that, like, from, like, reading comments and stuff, people, like, saying, like, oh, there's always, like, Windwalker PvPers that stream and stuff like that, but not really PvEers. So not my department. I couldn't tell you the first thing about Windwalker PvP. Sorry about that. I thought the new M+ season was more about smaller pools than current season. I just heard it a bit when seeing the Blood DK was top tier in M+. I mean, it could be more to do with smaller pools, but when you get to the higher key levels, you naturally have to get bigger pools, right? On the basis that if you aren't pulling, like, a lot of things in the dungeon at once, you're not going to time the key. So, like, when you start off at lower key levels, you can do, like, smaller packs and still time it easy peasy, but the higher you get, suddenly you're going to have to start grouping those smaller packs with bigger packs, pulling them into a new room, pulling them with a boss sometimes. You know what I mean? It starts to get a little bit out of control just because you're playing on, like, a timer. Overall in the dungeons, I haven't, like, had too bad a time. I've had a bit of a rough time with Conduit the Celestial just because of what you said, smaller pack pools. But I think Conduit the Celestial will shine further on when, like, you're starting to group up those smaller packs and bigger packs, pulling them all together, and suddenly you get to unleash all your AoE. Then we'll start doing a bit better, but then you compare that to a Death Knight, you know, that's doing the exact same thing, but they're not capped, and you won't stand a chance. Gotcha, from what I've seen, they've seemed pretty similar as now. It's just interesting to see how Slicing Winds would work in PvP. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you run in PvP. I imagine... See, I'm just... Like, I'm so in the dark with PvP. I imagine they run Shadowpan at the moment, but I could see Conduit the Celestials being decent if you want to go, like, fully burst-wise. Slicing Winds, you wouldn't really run with Shadowpan. You might do in PvP, but Shadowpan's more suited for, like, the electric build, where you go Emperor Palpatine mode and just start zapping people. Whereas Conduit works really nicely with Slicing Winds, but I could see it having good potential in PvP, in that you have like this burst window where you get massive cooldowns. You could absolutely just nuke down a healer, but please don't quote me on that and play Celestial Conduit in PvP, because I don't have a Scooby-Doo, to be honest. Alright, so we're going to do some dungeons. Surprisingly, there are tons of groups today. Happy stuff. They're all queuing for Cinderbrew. We'll see. We'll just join a few, see what we can get into. Cinderbrew gives me trauma. Every time I've run this dungeon so far, it has been horrendous. I'll try to do a 12 as well. Maybe they'll take me. Maybe not. No. Fair enough. Just queue for whatever groups, really. See what we get. Oh, they're not going to take me. They already have a Windwalker. Brutal. And these ones want tanks. So a few groups going, but we'll see if we get in. Yeah, Cinderbrew is a dungeon that I have big trauma on so far. Every time that I've done Cinderbrew, it's gone horrendously, no matter what keystone level it is. It's the first room, basically. There's this ad that walks around that buffs all the other ads around it, and also makes them CC immune. And I don't think people are aware of this. So the tank will pull everything. Suddenly you can't CC any of the ads. They all hit like trucks, and you just get wiped on repeat every time you respawn. So good luck on live, everybody, with your first Cinderbrew dungeons. You're gonna have a whale of a time. Can I go over the reason why Conduit goes right and Shadowpan goes left? Yeah, of course. So Conduit synergizes really well with Strike of the Windlord. So you're kind of locked into this side of the tree anyway. You have to take Strike of the Windlord because of Heart of the Jade Serpent. They made the change to Heart of the Jade Serpent where every time now that you Strike of the Windlord, you get massive cooldown reduction. It used to be you had to get like 45 chi stacks or something, so you'd only get it maybe once every 2 or 3 Strike of the Windlord, so it was really inconsistent and awkward to use. Suddenly, now every time you press this button, you get massive cooldown for 6 seconds? 6 seconds. So you've already locked in this side of the tree. So suddenly Slicing Winds now also works with Heart of the Jade Serpent, where it's one of the abilities that gets cooldown. So it pretty much makes sense to go down this tree, because suddenly you're getting Slicing Winds on massive cooldown. Strike of the Windlord sets off the cooldown, but it also cooldowns itself. So it just makes sense to do it for Conduit. The reason you probably wouldn't go Crackling Jade Lightning is then you'd be losing Slicing Winds, which is going to be... It just synergizes so well that it's almost like a downside to go Crackling Jade Lightning here. Like, if you switch these two out, you could do it. You can run it. Like, there's no harm in running it. But the issue is that the synergy is so good here that you just kind of want to roll with it. Whereas with Shadowpan, for instance, you don't actually want to be running Strike of the Windlord at all at the moment, and it's predominantly because Strike of the Windlord isn't that strong of ability on its own. With Conduit the Celestial, synergizes really well, so it's a must-take spell, but actually the damage that it does is really minute. Like, it's nothing compared to what it was like in Dragonflight. It's very misleading. Like, you see this node, it's an ability that you knew from Legion, you know, this thing slapped. But actually, it doesn't do much damage. All the damage comes from Gale Force, so you have to put 3 down in this tree to really get any value out of it. And at that point, you'd be losing a lot of like your other tiers here. So basically the concept is to go Crackling Jade Lightning with Shadowpan, scrap this entire side, put tons of your, what they call nodes into Blackout Kick and Rising Sun Kick and that sort of thing. And that way you can just absolutely capitalize on this. As well as that, you want to be taking Dance of the Chi-Ji pretty much for everything now. Single target, AoE, because it is just our strongest ability overall. Hopefully that kind of explained it. So you can see the issue of Slicing Wind for Shadowpan as well, as then you'd have to be, to get this entire tree, what are you losing? So you scrap like all of these talents, right? You can put a few in here, but suddenly you're scrapping everything, and suddenly your talent tree is kind of like a little bit lopsided. It's just kind of it just doesn't work out as well. Like, you end up having to get rid of things like Dual Threat and Transfer of Power to really like get into this side for Shadowpan, and it just doesn't synergize as well. So theory crafting wise, this is the best Shadowpan build on the PTR at the moment, but obviously it can change. It can change at any time if we get any more buffs or nerfs. That's kind of the TLDR. Let's try head towards this dungeon. What was it? Floodgate. Yeah, Floodgate. Yeah, if you're familiar with Shadowpan, if you played Windwalker at all this season, you're going to be like... It's going to feel the exact same. Pretty much nothing has changed for Shadowpan so far. Realistically, the only thing that changed is you kind of lost a big cooldown. Because you're no longer a Strike of the Windlord. You just replaced it with Crackling Jade Lightning, which is an ability you press like maybe once every minute or so, once you stacked it up. So Shadowpan's like... In my opinion, I like to say that Shadowpan's like the user, like ease of access one. If you've never played Windwalker before, this is like a really chill one to learn with. You don't have to like overthink or anything, or put too much like brain cells into it. Not that it's easy, but compared to Conduit the Celestials is what I compare it to. It's like night and day. Conduit the Celestials is super high APM. You have to be thinking ahead in advance of everything. You got to work out your burst windows, work out how you're going to do it per pull. Whereas this is just pop cooldowns when they're up and chill. But I prefer Celestial Conduit just because it's different. Kind of because it's different, because I've been running Shadowpan for like the past 5 months, so I'm a little bit over it. But at the same time, I like the higher skill cap on Conduit the Celestial. Let's teleport to Operation Floodgate and have a sip of coffee. Oh man, I love coffee. I used to hate coffee. I used to be one of those people that would never drink coffee. I'd have like a latte once or twice, like a month. Oh, are we just going? What just happened? But no, I can't get enough of coffee. I literally wake up in the morning and I'm like, I need coffee. I used to be a massive tea drinker. Very British. Why was I kicked out of the dungeon, by the way? I'm barred from Operation Floodgate. For anyone that hasn't watched any PTR at all, this is the brand new dungeon. Like the brand new dungeon, the one that's never been seen before. For next season, the one that they literally brought out. The zone is pretty much the ringing... Okay, it keeps kicking me out. The zone is pretty much the ringing deeps for this dungeon, so they've like just slapped a dungeon in the ringing deeps. It's got a little bit of a difference to it, where you can go underground. But you'll be very familiar with the zone. It's literally this, what I'm looking at right now. And it's a fun dungeon. They've made quite a few changes to all of the dungeons on the PTR. Last week, or the week before, all of the War Within dungeons that are coming to Mythic were absolutely overtuned. You were getting one shot in Priory of the Sacred Flame by whatever. You were getting one shot in Cinder Brew or the Meadery. Operation Floodgate, I think, had really good tuning. That came out in week 1 of the PTR, and it was like chill to run when we were all learning it. But it didn't seem overtuned. Maybe 1 or 2 things were a little bit over the top, but they've nerfed all of these dungeons. They've nerfed Operation Floodgate, Cinder Brew, Dark Flame, and Priory. So I think the PTR, I think it's a good thing that they've had the PTR cycle like this. In comparison to them having a super short PTR cycle, bringing this all out to live, we're all trying to do Mythic Plus to get gear and stuff, and suddenly we're progressing dungeons that we shouldn't be progressing. That's not fun, right? So it's a longer PTR cycle, but it's better than what happened in like dungeons like Necrotic Wake. Yeah, remember the start of the season, Necrotic Wake, where you would just be progging Surgeon, what's his name? And if you didn't have all of your spears, it was over, you tank the key, go again. What were some other ones? Who else did I hate? I hated Skarmorak. If any of you did like higher keys with Skarmorak, these were like 5 or 6 minute boss fights on this dude. You'd like tank your timer. It was horrendous. Dawnbreaker, Rashnam was completely bugged. I think he's still bugged in some situations. Ironic, he's a giant bug. But there were instances where people would phase him too fast and then he wouldn't like correctly like die when you took him down to the lower platform. Basically what I'm trying to say is a lot of these dungeons had issues, right? So more PTR testing. Hopefully sorts them out before we have to deal with them on live. I can't decide. Flame Shaker, Evoker, or Windwalker Monk? Why not both? Who said one or the other? Just go and both. I don't really know much about Evoker. Is Flame Shaper Evoker like the Devo, or is that Augment? Hey Quark, welcome. We're just looking for a tank right now, and then we're going to do an Operation Floodgate 10, and then we're going to just run the Shadow Pan build. Just as we warm up for the stream, really, so I could turn my brain off a little bit whilst I play and have a chat with you guys. And then once I've finished my coffee, maybe then we'll look at some Conduit of the Celestial, where I actually have to turn my brain on a little bit. That's fair enough. I only got time for one. I don't know. The thing with Evoker is, if it's Devastation is alright. I know that's kind of been a bit lost this tier. I remember in Dragonflight, everybody and their mum was a Devastation Evoker, right? I remember like you'd have like at least 3 of them in your raids. And they were really good then. I don't see a lot of them. I think Evoker is the least played class of any classes in WoW, bar Monk. Like, it goes Evoker, then Monk, and then moves up the list. I think with Evoker, you have the option of going... It's kind of like Windwalker, isn't it? You have the option of going damage or healer. But then you have augmentation as well. And I feel like if you are wanting to try get into high keys, Augment or Evoker is always like a good one. A lot of high key groups have Augment Evokers because you're suddenly buffing all the DPS that need it. But personally, I'd say Windwalker Monk. It depends what you want to do. It depends if you're just casually playing. If you're casually playing them, then go what you want. It's a hard one. I don't want to decide for you. I don't want to, because obviously I'm going to say Windwalker Monk, right? Because I think Windwalker Monk's the best. But I just don't know enough about Evoker. But I think Evoker's cool. I like the support aspect of it in the sense that it has a lot of CC and it brings a lot of utility. I just don't like that it makes some classes super omega gigabis and makes other classes irrelevant. Devastation Evoker is fine though. I like that kind of concept for the Evoker. This dungeon is just constantly kicking us out. Trying to decide between Warlock, Windwalker, or Outlaw. See, the thing with Warlock and Rogue is that they're always good picks in the sense that at least one Warlock spec is always going to be good, right? Like, you have the option of 3 different damage specs, and that's why 3 damage specs are always, like, kind of cool to go. If that makes sense. Like, Rogue, like, even if Assassination and Subtlety are doing bad, maybe Outlaw's actually outperforming all of them, and Outlaw's doing really well. With Warlock, maybe Devo and Demo, is that right? Are doing like bad, and what's the other one? They got another. You know what I mean though? Like, usually Warlock always has one spec that's doing alright. Whereas Windwalker, you're kind of locked in to like whatever damage Windwalker's doing is you can't change to the secret 4th Monk spec. It keeps kicking me out. Why does it keep kicking me out? Yeah, at least one spec will be good, at least mid. Yeah, that's what I mean, really. That problem is supposed to be resolved. Okay. Yeah, I just keep getting kicked out. Is there a monk ability that has uncapped AoE? Off the top of my head, Whirling Dragon Punch, right? No. I'm pretty sure it did. The reason I say it did is because in Dragonflight, you didn't take this for the entire Dragonflight except for one boss, Tindril, which is where you spawned all of the adds on top of each other. And this was the only boss you took Whirling Dragon Punch off because the damage was just so good. In that case, then no. I might be wrong in saying that it was uncapped in Dragonflight. It just might have just been that good that for that boss fight that you took it. But in that sense, then no. Like, you'll always do damage over 5 adds. It's not like you hit your 6th add and you deal no damage, but it just reduces. I couldn't give you a fixed number of what that reduction is. But no, any AoE ability is capped. I guess Crackling Jade Lightning? It depends how you class capped as, because Crackling Jade Lightning only hits like 5 targets, right? Fist of Fury will only, damage beyond the 5th is capped. Spinning Crane Kick, damage beyond the 5th is capped. I think it's because there was... Windwalker was so... I think it was Shadowlands when they capped it. I might be wrong. I didn't play Windwalker in Shadowlands, but that's when everybody was abusing Bone Dust Brew. Let me just... I can't even relog. Okay, Alt F4. When in doubt, Alt F4. Oh, no. Doxed. That new slicing ability? I'm pretty sure slicing winds is capped as well. I can't double check, but I'm confident it's capped. Wait for this bad boy to load up again. I had the bug where I don't get it on live, but I get it on PTR where for some reason at some point I can no longer like use my escape key. I can't use my escape key to open up the menu or anything. It kind of bugs my game. It might be why I couldn't get into this dungeon. We'll see. A little bit frustrating though that I can't get into a dungeon. Let me in. Oh, please don't have kicked me from the party. Okay, not kicked. Good. That's a good start. Slicing winds. Yeah, cap beyond 5 enemies. I think it's just like a trademark thing at the moment that we can't... we're never going to have any ability that's uncapped. Because we're too strong. We're, like, genuinely, Monk would be broken busted if we had uncapped abilities. It's why they had to cap them all. Because if you... Okay, I'm going to have to leave this party. That's really frustrating. I'll see if I can go in without a group. Maybe it's to do with the group. That happens in retail mid-combat sometimes. Yeah, I used to have a thing where when I started playing the game in Warlords of Draenor, I don't know what was up with my keybinds, but I used to have this thing where I'd press a button or press something and my entire hotbars would change. It was absolutely insane, right? Like my hotbars would just completely change mid-fight and I'd have no buttons on them. And the only way to fix it was to like completely relog. That was peak Warcraft. Yeah, I can't press escape again. There's something definitely buggy going on here. I'll see if I can use my other Windwalker monk on the PTR. I'm not sure what's going on, guys. I apologize. But yeah, as I was saying, we'd be OP if we had uncapped AoE. We'd probably be best in slot for everything. Like, genuinely, Windwalker monk would be messer if we had uncapped AoE. Because if you think about our, like, cooldown reduction and stuff and how often we're spamming abilities that do insanely high damage, right? Like, our damage is really strong on 5 targets. Imagine if, like, we had uncapped. We'd be topping the meters and everything. Like, you're never really not pressing something in AoE that absolutely slaps. They had to nerf us. We were too good for Blizzard. We're too good for our own good. We did this to ourselves. Any of you in chat that abused Bone Dust Brew, this is on you guys. I hope you know that. Alright, I will join a group. So this is my second PTR monk. The gear is nowhere near as, like, refined, because what I did initially is I made this character, deleted all my old gear, and then realized that these stats suck. So I made a brand new one on the PTR, got it gear that actually kind of was more reflective of what you'd actually be stat weighting. So the gear's kind of all over the place. But talents are all over the place as well, aren't they? I'll sort it out. This is more to test if I can actually get into a dungeon real quick. And make sure I'm not bricked. I'm gonna say that I might be bricked because I logged out in the raid. And because I logged out in the raid, it logged me in. It took really long to log in on my character and then kicked me out. It could be something to do with that. So it's my own fault, basically. If I can get in here, we'll just play on this character. It'll be fine. You think Warriors would cry if Windwalker got uncapped AoE? I think everybody would cry if Windwalker got uncapped AoE. Warriors were so good at the start of the season. The thing is, though, in my mind, you don't want to be the best, because the best always gets nerfed into oblivion until they're no longer relevant, right? Like, Warriors were so good at the start of the season, like, so good that, like, they got nerfed and nerfed and nerfed and nerfed and nerfed, and then you'd bring a Warrior just for the buff. Just for the raid buff, you didn't really bring a Warrior, which kind of sucked if you, like, because everybody went in hype as Warrior. Any Warrior players were super hype, and then suddenly their class gets 10 nerfs in a row, and no one wants to take you for any content. You're literally below Windwalker in the pecking order. Yeah, it looks like it's a character bug, guys, so I will play on this one, which is fine. It's fine. I'll be the same. It'll be the same, more or less. Let me just sort out my talents, because I haven't been on this character for a little bit. One moment. Sort out some bars as well. What build is this? Cock, no bok. Oh, I can't remember talents off the top of my head. I need a picture. No, it's definitely not that. Yeah, it's kind of that. Get rid of that. Get that on. Get ordered elements on. You want energy burst. You want that more or less how it... Yeah, oh no, you want ferociousness, don't you? Let's find a group. 14? Oh my god, no. No, I refuse. Like, I do higher keys on the PTR, but I know these keys are not going to be properly tuned, and I'm just going to end up progressing bosses. That's not fun to play. It's not fun to watch. That's my reasoning for not queuing up for, like, higher keys on the PTR. It's just not going to be fun. I'm not in the mindset to absolutely hard on sweat PTR. I'm trying to get more of like an idea of these dungeons, because what I want to do as well is when we get into the new season, start off with like a head start of understanding how these dungeons are, so I can try and make like sort of Windwalker guides for them. Like, oh, diffuse magic this, it's really good for that. The main idea there just being that like before people get into dungeons, it's kind of cool to know what you can do to optimize it. So that's the idea there, but going into 14s and progressing is going to give me no data at all. It's just going to make me pull my hair out, honestly. No, that's a single target build. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to make sure I have the right build on. I'd go over to my other character and take a screenshot, but CBA. I just want to make sure the talents are right. I have a photo somewhere. He doesn't know his talents off the top of his head. This guy even Windwalk? Unlimited power. Ah. Wait, why have I got these on? Oh, it's because I didn't save it, right? I was really confused why I had those on. There we are. That's pretty much exactly what I had. I think the only difference was that you switch out the Tiger Palm for the Hardened Souls. Is Shadowpan still viable in Season 2? Yeah, just because Conduit and the Celestials has gotten all these buffs, right? Hold on. Yeah, just because Shadowpan like hasn't seen any like real changes or anything, it doesn't mean Shadowpan's going anywhere. Shadowpan's still looking really good for M+. Like damage-wise, like Shadowpan's really competitive, and it's also like simpler. Like it just is. Like I say simpler, but I don't want to make it sound like easy, but generally it is just simpler to run. In raid, I don't know. It is difficult. I've tried both builds in raid, and I've found that Conduit the Celestials just seems to out DPS it. Yeah, I think it's going to be content dependent, which is kind of a good thing. I don't want one build to be the one you go for everything. I'd rather have like two different builds, some that you go on some raid bosses, some that you go on other raid bosses, some that you do in some dungeons, some that you do in other dungeons, you know? It's so boring going the same Shadowpan build over and over and over and over again. There's just like no variety to it, and it can make the game a little bit like unengaging. So Shadowpan's not going anywhere. It's just, is Conduit Celestial going to be good enough to compete in different areas? And I think it will be in its current iteration, unless there are some big changes to either one that just kind of make the other one irrelevant. But right now, they both feel really good. Really fun to play. And they are competitive in current PTR. I mean, I get asked, is Windwalker going to be competitive next season? I can't say if it'll be competitive next season, but it feels competitive in the PTR, right? It's hard to say. It's hard to say how it's going to be next season, because it's not next season. Not even Wallaby that has 8 target cap. No, genuinely by Vitality. Like, Strike of the Windlord. Oh, actually, I don't know what am I talking about. Strike of the Windlord is kind of uncapped, actually. I'm a big liar. Yeah, Strike of the Windlord. I don't think it has a set cap. I think it's 8. I think it might be around 8. But then, even though it's uncapped, it's not good enough to take in this build, so... Hey, good ability! Otherwise, yeah, Slicing Winds, no. Fist of Fury, absolutely not. Whirling Dragon Punch, hell no. Do you want to count Storm, Earth, and Fire? Because you guys just jump to different targets. Does that count? Spinning Crane Kick, absolutely hell no. But yeah, Strike of the Windlord does actually hit more than 5 targets. Completely forgot that was an ability. Woot! But all of the real damage from that comes from Thunder Fist, right? Like, Strike of the Windlord does a set amount of damage. Basically, it does a set amount of damage to all enemies, right? But then where it, like, gains the stacks is Thunder Fist, more or less. Like, Thunder Fist is the more targets you hit, the more stacks of Thunder Fist you're going to get, which increase your melee damage. So, I don't know. You see what I'm trying to say? It's not like it scales with... I mean, it gives you more melee stacks. If that counts, then sure, yeah. If nothing is written, I think it means uncapped. That means 20 target. Well, yeah, then in that case, yeah. Thunder Fist will do it like that, then. But it is such a bad ability nowadays that even though it is uncapped to that extent, you don't even take it with this build. So it's just not... It doesn't cook well enough. Even in... I wish I had a log up here of my damage, but even like AoE dungeons and stuff where you were on Conduit the Celestial, it's a glorified cooldown reduction, right? If you look at the damage breakdown, Strike of the Windlord does absolutely nothing. All it does is it allows you to have the cooldown reduction. All the damage comes from Gale Force. It's the main reason you take Strike of the Windlord, other than the cooldown, obviously, but all your damage comes from the Gale Force, which is where after you Strike of the Windlord, your other abilities afterwards will basically do an additional so-and-so damage based on how much damage you did. Sort of jazz. So Gale Force is where all the damage comes from. Strike of the Windlord sucks. Which is kind of sad because in my mind from Dragonfly, even from Legion, Strike of the Windlord was always like heavy hitter. Like this was your 30-second cooldown that absolutely slapped. It just doesn't. It doesn't. It's a bit of a misconception. Congrats on the Discord. Looking forward to seeing how it grows. Thanks, Atesh. I appreciate that. Yeah, no, I really had fun setting it up. There's still a bunch of stuff that I want to do with it. I was talking earlier about making like a WeakAura channel and stuff. Because that's one of the big things I have. And also maybe having like a resource tab and stuff. Like, for instance, Peak of Serenity is like the Monk Discord server, but they also have a website that's absolutely amazing. Honestly, it's how I learned to play Windwalker, right? Through their website. They have amazing guides on there and everything, so it's something I want to link to, because, like, realistically, if you don't know about Peak of Serenity, go check it out. Like, it's all written, so it's not, like, visual learning, but it's an amazing, like, they have such amazing resources, and they spend so much time, like, helping out other Windwalkers and stuff. Absolutely. I think Windwalker is one of the best communities for learning and stuff like that. Like, what other classes have websites? Like, Hunter, for instance, right? Right, this is really funny. You know how we have, like, APLs and stuff for how much damage class is going to do in Sims and stuff like that? One of the Hunter specs monetizes theirs. Like, it's literally paywalled. You have to pay to get the information. It's absolutely crazy. Like, I don't think any other specs do that, but there's just one Hunter... They might not do it now, but I've definitely heard that one of them makes you pay to to find out how much damage you can do. Invictus on Discord. Yeah, show off your transmogs. I thought I'd add a few funny, like, kind of tabs as well, because I don't want it to just be a, hey guys, I'm streaming at this time right now, come join, stuff like that. I thought it'd be cool, like, you know, you got a funny transmog, you got some funny memes. I love memes. Make me laugh. They don't, it doesn't have to be Windwalker related. It does have to be safe for work, though. I don't want to open up my Discord and find some inappropriate memes. There is a line, guys. Alright, we're going to kick off with this Cinderbrew. I think it is a 10? I don't know. Let me just double check my keybinds. I guarantee I'm the sort of klutz that will log on to another character and not have the right keybinds on. Yeah, that looks alright. Like, what did I do the other day? I think the first PTR raid testing day that we did, I walked into the raid and I didn't have spinning crane kick keybind. I was like, kept trying to spam my Q button, like, over and over, and nothing was happening. I realized that, like, just hadn't bound it. Swipes debit card, gets told shit damage. Oh my god, paying for that information is just not worth it. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I think it was like, I don't know if it was like their PIs and stuff like that, that sort of information, like how much would they do with PI, but something was pay gated, and it's just crazy to me. But yeah, I really love the Windwalker community. Like, Piques for Energy, if you're not on that Discord, like, there's so many like people that are so knowledgeable about Monk. They're really helpful as well. And then their website, yeah. So where was I going with that is I'm going to try have like a resource tab sort of thing as well. That's like full of weak auras, anything that I think is really good for Monk. And then resources as well, like certain, like maybe like WoW head pages and stuff. Different like rotation guides and stuff. Obviously, I'll still make videos, but at the same time, it's always nice to have like resources on hand. So that's something I wanted to add to that as well. Yeah, it's just something that I plan on growing. I just don't want it to just be a, hey guys, I'm streaming at this time, tune in sort of thing. I want it to be more of like a community sort of thing. That's the goal anyway. That's how I'd like it. So I'm really scared with this dungeon. It is Chef Chewy, right? Look at this buff. He's got a buff that increases damage of nearby allies by 15% and makes them immune to all forms of crowd control. So what happens a lot here is he'll start off on this side of the room. You'll pull this side of the room. Everything will be happy, you know? Everybody's chillaxing, you're having a good time. Then you start pulling other ads. You pull this guy as well. Suddenly nothing can be interrupted. Everything does more damage. Your group just constantly wipes. I'm even going to say... Yeah, so that's going to be like the big ad. Definitely on live, people won't know about this. And you'll end up getting a tank that pulls the room with Chef Chewy, just thinking he's a basic big ad. And you will die. I've wiped too many times on the PTR to this guy. I'm actually traumatized from this room. It is horrible. But yeah, I think this Demon Hunter's alright with it. He seems to know what's up. Also, muscles. Oh, is it the muscles as well? Oh, they don't have a debuff on them, but yeah. Oh, this guy as well. So compliments to the so there's a few ads in this room that just will make everything life of living hell. So if you pull these this guy, where is he? Oh no, he had Chef Chewy's butt. I'm an idiot. Ignore me. He had the buff of the other guy. My details are way too big at the moment. I'll make them smaller when I can actually see the numbers. But yeah, we're just going Shadow Pan for this one. I'm going to show off a bit of Crackling Jade Lightning. Just so I can look at chat and stuff during this first key. Because with Conduit the Celestials, I need to focus a bit more. Otherwise, it's an absolute mess. Whereas I can kind of play this one with my brain off a little bit, which is kind of nice. Not because I'm good, because I've played Shadow Pan for like 5 months on end. He's pulling everything. It's over. Vibes are off. Cheeky 11 million damage. Don't mind me. I got really good spinning crane kick procs there, so... And then we've got 20 stacks here, and there's still loads of ads up, so it's worth popping. Really, like, the main thing you'll have to focus on with Strike the Windlord, with Crackling Jade Lightning, is the fact that you want to use it when you have at least, like, 5 ads is ideal, but you don't want to hold it so long that, like, you're waiting for the next set of 5 ads when you could have been building it up. That's the only real balancing you're gonna have to do. Am I just gonna bleed out? I am. Yep. Hide muscle then. Yeah, these guys absolutely slap as well, even without the buff. So you can see 5 deaths already on a 10, and we haven't even pulled like the scary guys. Yeah, like, it does get crazy. This dungeon even needs another nerf, or we just play them wrong. But I think that was a fine pull. I'm not scared. You're scared. So, like, there's also the option to shoot your Crackling Jade Lightning out early. Like, there's no, like, hard cap on you have to get it to 20. If you, like, find the perfect opportunity and you're on, like, 17 or something, send it. It's better than holding it on 20 for, like, an extra however long... Okay, my tank died. Like, you can see what I mean, though. Like, this is genuinely how every single one of these goes. Once you're out of this room, it's not too bad, but you just wipe on repeat because these ads do not stop, like... They do insane damage. They all put, like, nasty dots on you. Like, there's only so much CC you can do. And this is post-nerf, by the way. This dungeon got nerfed. Oh, God. No one's left the group, though, yet. But I'm just bleeding out to something. I don't even know what I'm bleeding out to. One downside of Crackling Jade Lightning is that if you die, the stacks drop off. Otherwise, the stacks will never drop off. They're like a permanent buff you have. The only thing that will, like, get rid of it is if you spec change. I'm pretty sure logging out will get rid of it, and if you start an M+, it should get rid of it as well. So you can't, like, pre-stack 20 Crackling Jade Lightning, then go into M+. It's not going to work. Honestly, 16 deaths ain't that bad. It looks bad, but I promise you it isn't. So this guy has to be pulled on his own. Obviously there will be situations where you can probably pull him with other stuff, but that is well above my pay grade. This guy is crazy. And he also knocks you back as well. So the worst thing about him... I got greedy there with lightning. The worst part about him is that he'll end up knocking people back into other packs of ads if you try to solo him. So, like, positioning is kind of important. If we stand behind him right now, good chance he knocks us back into those ads. But he is a tanky boy. He doesn't really do anything crazy, but it's what he does to the other ads that just will wipe you. Yeah, chef. Healer? How'd you die there? So you can see I'm on 20 stacks of Crackling Jade Lightning right now. In my mind, we're going to kill this ad in, like, I don't know, a couple of seconds. It's not worth sending them on to him and just waiting for the next pack. But there'll be situations where this is going to last way longer and it's worth just sending it. But because it was only like 10 seconds, I'm going to say that it's worth it just to hold it. It's all about timings and working out like how long you have before a next pack. Thanks for subscribing, Pedro. I really appreciate it. If you're watching the stream, welcome, welcome. If you're watching a YouTube video and subscribed, welcome as well. I can't tell because YouTube subscriptions don't let me know. But I appreciate the subscription. Thank you very much. Oh my god, we're getting spinning crane kicks out the wazoo on this one. Hello, Proxicity. Everybody doing 9 mil here. That's crazy. This boss I don't like. I think it's kind of lame. I don't like his intermission bit. I think it's really awkward and pointless. I get it's a gimmick of a bar, but I just think it's weird. The best way to do this boss is constantly move. If you end up tanking him in the same spot over and over, you're just gonna have a bad time. Because he puts loads of stuff on the ground. He puts these fear circles, I guess we want to call them. They hurt to stand in. And then he also puts disorient circles on the ground. So you need to, like, kind of be tanking him all over. But yeah, this is happy hour. You see what I mean? Like, you got to pick up these, like, fears and take them to the patrons. And you're just taking dot damage overall. And it's just like, why am I doing this? Well, what? I get that it's a gimmick, but like, why am I doing this? And then obviously I'm a monk, so I have to take it. Did I not give it to him? Oh, and then he gets another okay, and then you got to do it again, and now he's fightable. Okay. You see what I mean? It just seems a little bit like, why am I doing this? Like, the dot damage is practically non-existent, if any, actually, to be honest. It just seems a little bit pointless. But yeah, so these smoke cloud things, they'll disorientate you, which is really bad. Because you'll end up getting hit by this frontal. So you basically need to make use of the whole room, more or less. Taking him into a corner is no-no. Please can we not tank him here? I'm scared. We're just going to get trapped in this corner. I guess that's what we enjoy. We're just going to take it. Yeah, so now we're trapped in the corner. I get disorientated because, like, everything's on top of us. You need to basically move this boss around the room. Like, you can see how much space is clear over here. I think that's going to be the way to do it. Like, it's fine to, like, start off in a corner, then just move him to the next corner, then move him to the next corner. But otherwise, you are... Range will have range will be fine, actually. I don't know what I'm talking about. If you're range, you'll be like, you won't care. It's melees that are going to suffer. Oh, this is so tedious. Yeah, so now we're taking him to the other corner. But I think maybe a bit more movement makes sense. Where's he aiming that? Right at my face? Oh, God. You see what I mean? Like, look at this core. This is horrendous for melee. Like, I can't hit the boss right now. Whereas if you're a ranged player, like this hunter, he's just chilling, right? He's just playing on the outskirts. He doesn't have to worry about a thing. And you can't damage the boss? Yeah, it takes 99% reduced damage. So you have to. And the dot damage comes from the patrons, actually. So once you give them a beer, they chill out. But until then, they just start throwing mugs at you. I'm still learning this dungeon. I've only really done it on like I want to say a 2. Anything higher, I've not got past this boss. So I'm still learning this one. I'd like to see what the nerfs they did to the other rooms as well. Because the beast slows are horrendous. Which way are we going? I don't think I've ever gone this way in my life. So that's going to be the way we go. Tank's going to die? Okay. I didn't want to pop cooldowns if the tank was just going to die. Sounds bad, but meh. So we get a massive crackling here. So, like, you see what I mean with crackling Jade Lightning is it's not something you have to think about until you're, like, high stacked. And the rotation's really simple because you just lost Strike of the Windlord. So really, you're just rotating between Tiger Palm, Blackout Kick, Rising Sun Kick, and, have I said Bok already? Spinning Crane Kick. Basically just, like, these buttons over here, which is barely anything. So it makes Shadow Pan a little bit more boring, I guess. There's a lot less going on. But it also is kind of user-friendly. Ease of access is a lot nicer if you're learning Windwalker. I would not want to, like, pick up Windwalker and have to learn Celestial Conduit. after having never played it. Like, you already have to learn how to use our mastery and everything else. Like, having to learn this crazy build doesn't sound fun. Oh, we're chain pulling. This corridor seems a lot more chillaxed. Am I crazy in saying that? Maybe we just haven't seen the bad stuff yet. I feel like I should be taking a lot more damage. Okay, the tank's dead. Here comes the damage. Okay. I am the tank now. Get back in there. Is he okay? Everything is just spread out, though. I think we're okay. I feel like I'm bleeding out. That foreshadowing is crazy. Everything did seem okay. To be fair, though, only he dropped. We managed to survive. Not too bad. Ring of Peace comes in clutch, as always. Sup, Windwalker man? All good today? Yeah, Spooks, doing well, thank you. Set up a Discord, so I'm happy about that. Playing some dungeons, happy about that. Got past the first room in the meadery, so, I mean, it couldn't be better. Couldn't be better. Yeah, I'm having a good one. What about you? A little bit of an earlier stream today, but yeah, I mostly didn't want to stream for like 2 hours. It just seems like why would you? Yeah, I basically come on and then come off again. So I did have to do a little bit of an early one today, but I actually get to see the daylight when I'm streaming. In the UK at the moment, it gets dark by like 4 or 5 easily. Like I literally live in the darkness. So it's kind of nice that I can see daylight through the corner of my eye. I'm not a winter person. Like, I don't mind the cold too much, but I just hate it being dark all the time. Like, I used to live in South Africa for, like, 5 years. So you compare that to sitting in the dark. In UK summer's alright. Like, you get light till, like, 10 sometimes, which is really cool. But otherwise, I was molded by the darkness. This room feels a lot more chill. Wait, I already said that, haven't I? And that led to bad things. This room doesn't feel chill. This room doesn't feel chill. Thank you, okay? Keep an eye on that guy. 4 PM easy, yeah. Yeah, I know. It's been particularly cold as well this year. We just had, like, a massive hurricane as well. Not by me, but, like, a lot of the UK got hit by a huge hurricane. Pretty crazy stuff. And the worst thing about British summer as well... Right, I'm in a bit of a complaining mood. The worst thing about British summer, right, is that it's not like a nice hot. It's a humid hot. So it doesn't feel nice to be outside or anything. Like, it just... Like, if you're inside as well, it is horrendous. Like, you're not cool or anything. It's not like a cool hot like Europe. It's just a horrible, humid hot. We wiping here? So I think what happened there was Healer and someone else got hit by the slow. I don't want to count. Oh, I have to. Pain. Thanks, Dad. Oh. Yeah. So if you get hit by the slows in this dungeon, you are gonna die. There's no easy way to say it, unless you have some sort of movement ability like monks do. Lucky as. Potentially could Tiger Lust someone. I kind of need something on my bars that lets me know that they're slowed though. I might need to look out for that because Tiger's Lust is kind of big for this dungeon. Our houses turn into hot boxes. Yeah, they do. They're really good at retaining heat. Which I think's a lie, because in the winter my house is always cold, so I don't know what heat it's retaining. Ooh. I'll pop cooldown to you. That's fine. I'm trying to look out to see if there's any, like, symbol on my bars that shows me someone's slowed, but not really. No, it shows increased damage, but it doesn't really show slows. I wouldn't expect it to. Okay, Elu got one shot. Panic mode. I just realized we skipped the second boss, right? I guess in that case you can... Oh, because there's two ways you can go. You can choose which one you want to do second, because usually I do... Ipa? I don't know, whatever you want to call it. And that's in the other room, isn't it? And then you have Bank Busby. Great name, by the way. Bank Busby. From recollection, this is just a add and dodge fight. I hope it's just an add and dodge fight. There seem to be barrels on the floor, though, but they don't have a timer or anything on them. I guess it's just a case of don't walk into them. Or supper. It looks like the tank gets all the mechanics on this fight. Watching it, I haven't had to do anything. Oh, that feels good. Just watching the crackling Jade Lightning hit everything. Note to self, I need to turn on the red crackling Jade Lightning for this character. It looks way cooler and does 10% more damage because it's red. Don't quote me on that. It might not. Getting a little bit chaotic. I'll be honest. Excuse me, sir. Can we move it out of the fire? Oh no, play it down. Hast bag. Haste bag. Boss is kind of dropping, but this is getting chaotic. Without the hunter, we are gonna... Oh my god. Oh, all the bees just focused me and one-shot me. Yeah, I think that without the hunter there, we were definitely going to struggle. We kind of need all DPS for this. This is a heavy DPS fight. Loads of ads. Ipa is an Indian pale ale drink? Ooh. I'm not much of a beer drinker? I'm not much of a drinker, to be honest. Ipa? Yeah, you don't know what I drink if I, like, go out. I drink, like... Budweiser. Is that bad? I don't really drink. I'm an awful drunk. Not like I'm a bad put. Like I'll drink like a few and then I'll just feel sick in that sense. Like I don't enjoy it. Oh, I'm much more of a coffee person. Love the dungeon. Brew with boss name Ipa. Oh, so... Oh, right. I get what you're saying, though. It's named, like, probably named after an actual alcohol. Ah, aesthetically themed. Because that's the boss that's, like, made out of alcohol, isn't it? Or beer. I think. I don't really know. Why'd I just jump there? I mean, relatively, this doesn't look like a hard fight. It just looks like a tank put thing on the side. Lots of ads come in, but it looks like it's a lot, right? Like, it's continuous. There's no, like, slowing down. I've angered the hive. I have angered the swarm. Oh, like, no, I've genuinely angered the swarm. They are so pissed at me right now. There's so many bees. There's too many bees. There's actually too many bees. No, there's too many bees. We just get overwhelmed. These things hit like a truck. Okay, 29 million damage to the bees isn't enough, Mr. Rogue. Me and the hunter putting in absolute... Oh no, the bees are at the top. Ignore me. Oh god, it's me that's not putting in the work. No, wait. No. It is the hunter. He's only rogue. He's only putting 29 million. I think the ads need to die. Ads have to be priority here. They are just nuking us down. You see there are... The guy just typed in party chat. You see there are a lot of bees. There should only be 3 at a time. They spawn many times from the barrels, so I guess people are running into barrels or popping mechanics on the barrels. This guy knows this dungeon. He's done it too many times. He's ruining my immersion. I drink cider or mixers. My boss is a massive IPA fan. Oh, to be fair, yeah, I used to like really like cider when I was younger. What did I liked Rattler, which is like it's a bit of a stronger one. But I liked Rattler a lot. But I was definitely like an apple cider drinker when I drunk cider, like pear and stuff like that. Nah, get that out of my face. Oh, get me back on the boss. I see your comment, Spooks. I'll have a look once we kill this boss. Not wipe, kill it. Even though DPS is dead, but... That's not a good sign, right? DPS is dead within 10 seconds of this fight. Panic. If I Crackling Jade Lightning, am I just going to kill myself? Find out. Oh. This is bad. Is it players that are getting blown into the barrels then? Is that what's causing all this commotion? There's so many bees, right? He's right, there are not meant to be this many bees. It must be that people are getting like the barrels, he says, that spawn the bees. They must be getting like... Someone's getting knocked into them or something. So we just can't, even with the Rogue Alive, you cannot keep up with that. Have I played with a Feral in Key Raid yet? If so, how are they doing? I think on the PTR raiding, there was one Feral in my guild. He plays Feral, I don't know if he mains Feral, but he definitely plays it in some of our like raid runs. He might main Feral actually, and he tends to do decent damage. I think he was doing good damage on the raid, just off the top of my head. I don't think he played Feral too much. I think he switched. In dungeons, though, no. In fact, in dungeons, I've barely seen any druids. It's always monks. It's always monks and paladins, demon hunters. There's a lot of class disparity on the PTR. I guess a lot of people don't care to test out stuff, which is fair. I've never tested out stuff, but monks, like, you see them everywhere. Brewmasters, Windwalkers, Mistweavers, but I've barely seen any druids, and if they are usually the tank variety. Ferals are a rare breed. But the thing with Ferals is they're kind of like Windwalker, right? Like, they're always at the bottom of the list for everything, but usually like when you group them and stuff, they actually do loads of damage. We're misrepresented. Who's running these numbers? Okay, bee control seems alright. I'm going to save Crackling Jade Lightning for the next set, so I can just nuke them. I regret everything. How did the rogue just die? You just get bee aggro. The master just got bee aggro, right? Hunt is dead as well. It genuinely just must be bee aggro. Like, when you get it, you just get one shot. Yeah, like, I'm getting it now, and I can see why they died. I get it. Yeah, I mean, I can... This group's going to disband at some point if we're progressing this boss. I can see people leaving. It won't be me. It might be me, guys. Not yet, though. I'll give it a few more pulls, but I don't want to just prog a boss. But yeah, you can see these bosses are like... They're still really hard. When you think of it plus 10, right, on live servers, which they should be like... I think that's what they're doing next season. Like, they should be 1 for 1. Like, a 10 should feel like a 10 next season. Don't quote me on that. I haven't really looked at it like that, but... Like, a 10, like, you shouldn't be, like, struggling this much. I don't think we're mechanically doing it too bad. I saw you, why didn't you hit barrel? I tried, bro, was stuck, could not press anything. Rogue tell Hunter how to do it. Oh, so they're meant to press the barrels. That's a job that I'm too melee to understand. We've got to kill the bees and then jump on them to send the bead into the barrel. The barrels are attracting them. Ah, someone knows their stuff, Mr. Gengar. Oh, it's honey. That makes a lot of sense, actually. Still jumping between Unholy, Feral, and Windwalker. Unholy's good, right? Like, Unholy's always... Monk, you do it too, right? Yeah. Yeah, I do it too, man. I'm doing all the mechanics. What mechanics? Don't tell them that I don't know. Unholy's always good, though, right? Like, it's one of those ones that you'll pair up with an Orgvoker and you'll be happy with. Yeah, in Heroic, all I remember doing is just running through these dungeons, everything dropped, and I paid attention to nothing. Which, in hindsight, has come back to bite. Oh god, quick. The Ravenous Cinderbee musters the last of its strength to charge forward. Okay, no, don't care. He coats current target in front. No, don't care. Tamed. Upon reaching 1% health, Cinderbees become docile and can be ridden by players. Okay. And then you collide it in the honey. Okay, yes, I gotta ride the bees. Wow, okay. There's actual mechanics I have to do. Mechanics in my dungeons? Ew. I just want to damage. Honestly, I didn't even notice that the bees were, like, docile. Okay. Can I ride this bee? Let me on. Let me... Yahoo! Oh, am I meant to... What am I doing here? Oh, cool. I did it. I am now a mechanical god. Hey, you know, now that I've worked that out, this fight seems a lot easier, actually. When you do the mechanics. Oh my god. I'm glad it's the PTR. This was live servers. I would be getting... This tank would be so nice about it. Let's say that. We're theory crafting. We were seeing if we could push the boss without having to do any mechanics. Spoiler alert, no. No is the answer. So there are no barrels, but then I guess they spawn. So now... Oh, he hopped onto a bee, right? And then he died. Why'd he die? Oh, bee. Alright, so now I press F1. No idea why F1's the button for this, but it is. And then the tank died. Okay. So it turns out if you do the mechanics, that's bad as well. What's an airship, dog, and bun? Who comes up with this? This is the way. Yeah, it looked like the way until everybody died. I'd love to know what people died to. Is this a death that he's just Alt F4'd? I could see it, to be honest. I've seen quite a few Alt F4s on the PTR. Although this is one of the Alt F4s that I'd be okay with. He says relogging. Bet. Bet. Yeah, relogging onto live. See you guys later. Yeah, I don't mind if someone leaves on this one, because this is just, like, head bashing. But it's when people, like, you're, like, wiped to, like, one trash pack or something on, like, Operation Floodgate that pretty much no one will have seen. And then people will just Alt F4, and you're just like, okay, so why? WoW players, what do we like? The raid test logs, I tried... The issue with the raid test logs is we did log all the raid. I personally didn't know. So like we have a raid log channel, right, where people post the raid logs in. Here, let me get this off my screen. But they don't work, I don't think, because it's like PTR. Or... Oh, hold on, let me just try. The issue was that basically they wouldn't load up. Because it was PTR, like it seemed to only be like personal to the person who did it. Why are you... Sorry, my computer's being annoying. Hold on, I think we're gonna pull this boss. I don't want to be looking at logs. I mean, I do it. I don't really... Doesn't bother me. Oh god, I readied up, but I wasn't ready. I have a look after this boss. Because there's definitely been logs posted, but the issue... Yeah, basically what I've been saying. The issue is that I haven't been able to access them. Like, they basically say they don't exist. I'm not sure if that's just because they're... logs from... What do you call it? Logs from PCR, so Wowhead just won't, like, make them public. Oh god, I need to ride this bee. I'm not riding the bee. He's going to scream at me. Uh-oh. I think we pulled the bees over in this area that you don't want to be pulling bees from. This tank is getting shredded. Oh, healer's dead. It's over. Let me have a look over these logs. Shadowpan. Yeah, I'm playing Shadowpan right now. There are two builds that I'm basically playing at the moment. Sorry, it turns out we're not wiping. I was a little bit eager there. Although I think we're out of control here with the bees. I don't know if we can pull this back. Okay. I shouldn't have stood in that. I'm an idiot. There are some logs up that I'm looking at the moment. Yeah, no, I have been linked logs from other guilds. Why? Oh, I do have logs. Look, logs. All right, we'll have a look through them in a little bit. I can't share them with you though, because all our logs are done privately. So I can't like actually share anything. It's why, if you go on my actual, like, oh, Spell my name right, please. So why have you got my actual profile? It looks like I've only killed 5 bosses. We just don't... I'm not really sure the reasoning. I've been in a couple of guilds that don't public log, which is... It's fine. I think the main reasoning is that they don't want people, like, fully going for, like, logs, like damage brain. Me log, me damage brain. So if you look at, like, best percentages over here publicly, but then if you look at the private ones, weird flex, but yeah, then you can see them. So I can't share any of my logs with you. Like if I try to send them over to you to look at, that's the one issue. I might speak to my GM before next season and see if I can public log some things, just because obviously if I'm making a guide for a boss, right, and I can post my damage breakdown, but it always helps to be able to look at how that damage breakdown actually works, right, doesn't it? It's a bit like kind of awkward, right? Are you going to play Mop Classic? Nope. Absolutely not. You think I have time for Mop Classic? I barely have time for retail. Aren't there like guides for Mop Classic from like 20 years ago already out? Just use them. Oh no, it'd be like relearning an entirely new class, because Monk from Mop is not Monk from now. Yeah, so these are just some of them. So this looks like it was from the other night. So I mean, this is like all wipes overall. Weird flex again, but predominantly, like what I was saying whilst I was streaming it, is that mostly all your damage comes from Storm, Earth, and Fire, right? First, no real surprise there. But all your damage comes from Fist of Fury. Like this isn't great accurate, so I'm gonna go back to this one where you hover over it. But if you can like see there, you can see that like Fist of Fury is like top damage. It's like not even a contender at the moment. And then Spinning Crane Kick, right? Understand that Cauldron is a single target fight. You're only attacking one boss at a time, like ever, except maybe the intermission. There's no like AoE, no ads or anything like that. Spinning Crane Kick is my second highest damage. So that's why like I keep emphasizing now, so anyone that's listening, you're gonna have to take Dance of the Chi-Ji for single target, because Spinning Crane Kick is pretty much your strongest damaging ability, right? It's absolutely insane. You just don't press it when it's not glowing. If you don't have a proc, if you're pressing it, you're trolling. But if it glows, you have to press it. Like, it's so strong. It's stronger than Rising Sun Kick, right? Think about that. Like, Rising Sun Kick's like our staple for single target. Gonna download the PTR and maybe do some keys? Yeah, I think it's a good, it's good to get some tests in. At least, like, to familiarize yourself with the dungeon. Plus, it's kind of fun. I think, like, retail's in that stage now where, like, you've done the dungeons, like, 50 times each. It's a little bit stale. Like, I don't mind raiding still, but, like, I couldn't convince myself to go and do M+, which I kind of have to do on my Demon Hunter at the moment. Like, I really don't want to. Don't make me do it. You need my guides for Mop Classic. I don't know the first thing about Mop Classic. Oh no. Can I make you like a 1-minute YouTube short where I summarize it? I don't know. What server am I on? I play on... So my guild is on Draenor? But my character's on Twisting Nether. But if you're talking about PTR... Oh, right, PTR, I imagine. Firak. I imagine is what you're asking about, sir. That makes more sense, right? Firak, but I'm pretty sure you can play with people from both servers, Eric, Don, or Firak. You can... It's kind of like retail. I don't think it matters, but Firak is the one that I'm on. Mop Classic, don't play Monk there. Done. Mop Classic. Have we not gone too far in the Classic cycle, right? Are we not pushing it now that we're getting to Mop? Like, didn't we just remix Mop? I played that for a week. It was what it was, right? It's just Mop. It's just... Like, when do we stop? At what point do we say this is enough Classic? Warlords of Draenor? Is that... Are we pushing it too far at that point? Or... like, there's got to be a limit, right? Legion? Do we just run it? I'll do a 10 Rookery. I really enjoyed the Rookery. I've only done it once, but I'd probably say it's my favorite one of all the dungeons. And I did already do some progress on it. I progressed the second boss, which was rather difficult if you're a melee. It's a pretty difficult melee fight, but once you get it down, if you're going to wipe to a boss in the Rookery, it's going to be the second boss, hands down. Just because there's a way you have to play the fight. You have to, like, there's a lot of micromanagement of movement, like area denial. Sounds more complicated than it is. It'll make sense when I get there. First boss is Bing Ching, though. Really fun. Windwalker POV, Mistweaver Mop Classic Guide, make it happen. I don't even know how to play Mistweaver on retail. I mean, I guess it would be relearning on Mop. I just don't have time. I don't think you understand my raid schedule. I'm going to be raiding like 4 days a week. When do I have time to play Mop? In the mornings before work. Cheeky little Mop sesh at like 6 a.m. I also want to kind of do real life stuff, you know. My girlfriend will not be pleased. She's already not too pleased at the four raid nights. I can't include Mop onto it as well. Can't wait for Legion Classic. I'd play it just because I really enjoyed Legion, but realistically, you don't need it. We've gone too far. I think Wrath of the Lich King was probably enough, right? Like, do people even play Kata? Like, I'm sure they played it at the start, but like, is Kata even popular still? Doesn't everybody just play hardcore classic WoW? Is that not what everybody just does now? We'll go Celeste. Oh no, I don't have the build. I can make it real quick. I'm gonna be so fast. I need these 2 talents. What do I get rid of? Like, oh, what is it? What is it? Ordered elements. No, I'm not ready. Piss off. Oh, you get rid of stuff from this tree. Oh? I'm so confused. What do I get rid of? It's definitely not these 2 talents, but I'm going to have to. Sequence strikes? No, you have to have sequence strikes for this. Oh, well, we run it like this. This is not the perfect build, by the way. I've messed something up here, but on the fly, with a timer going, I cannot perfect it. I just want to make sure I have the right talents on. Yeah, not happy. Well, I suffer from having to reroll the character. Right, I will try talk to chat still, you guys. So I really enjoy like just talking to you as I play, but I am gonna have to turn my brain on a little bit for Conduit of the Celestial. It does require a little bit more thinking. But that's not me saying I'm not going to talk. I just need to really turn my brain on for this. I mean, 10, 11 million, but even then I didn't play it perfectly. I don't, like, it's hard to notice, like, it's just so, can I get words out my mouth? It's such a difficult thing to do. I think I did it alright there, like see Slicing Winds, you get, like, 3 Slicing Winds off, basically. Maybe, is it just 2, actually? But all the damage comes from Fist of Fury and Slicing Winds. But even, like, Gale Force, I point out Gale Force a lot. You can see, where's Strike of the Windlord, right? Where's Strike of the Windlord's damage? It's not even in the top 14, right? That's how little Strike of the Windlord actually does. It's, like, not a good ability. All the damage comes from the Gale Force passive, which is what I was trying to explain earlier on. Oh, Lord. Have mercy on my soul. Dragon Soul is about to drop, so Mop is not far behind. I think what they did there was they pretty much brought out Mop Remix as the tester for how many people are actually going to play Mop if we re-release it. Like that, I think that was their idea, right? Because they were testing the waters. Like, how many people will still play Mop? Like, we've done all the others. And the remix got a lot of plays, didn't it? Like, it was very popular. But was it popular because there was nothing else going on at the time? There's my tinfoil hat on. I mean, at the end of the day, play what you want. I don't care. I mean, I play hardcore classic. Like, I can't really speak. I don't play it often, but I play it here and there. I enjoy the simplicity of it. Like, it's not, like, it's just kind of chill. Like, when you look at, like, the whole picture, it's really boring. You're running around killing stuff, collecting stuff, and handing it in. That is all classic is, but sometimes it's nice to just kind of, like, turn your brain off, chill, and just run around the world. But I don't play it that much. Haven't died. Almost died. I think as soon as people found out you can buy mounts that you're missing, that sold it for people. Yeah. I mean, microtransactions are fine in retail. Like, it's whatever. But what happens to no changes? Like, I remember getting really hyped for Burning Crusade, because I didn't really play retail at the time when they were about to release Burning Crusade. And then they brought out, like, packs. You could get this, like, Dark Portal toy. And it's like, this isn't... What to no changes? This isn't what I signed up for. And then it just turns into a, okay, so they're doing this for money. Which, obviously, they're doing it for money anyway, right? Like, let's not get it twisted. I think we pulled too much here. Maybe not. I'm going to pop a defensive. I'm going to pop all my defensive, actually. Oh, I don't have anything left. I've got nothing left! Yeah, we pulled too much there. Way too much. Maybe better CC management was needed there. And WoW tokens. See, I completely forgot they brought out WoW tokens for classics. Like what's that? Like, what was the point at that point? Like, then it's just, eh. Oh, you meant remix with its currency, like being Shah mounts. Yeah, I don't recall exactly how remix works. I only played it for a week. I remember there were tons of bugs with it. I remember the only thing I really remember from remix was that they had that frog bug that people were abusing. Like, everybody was killing frogs to increase their legendary or something stupid. And it was a massive thing. And are we just letting these ads cast? We've done the exact same pull. Why? Sorry, I don't mean to get frustrated. I'm only frustrated because I popped my cooldowns. I popped Zwan. Oh, you can't do the pulls like that. With those lightning guys, they just one-shot people. Increased their cloak and people got reset after because of exploit. Yeah, it was a massive exploit, wasn't it? People were getting, like, really angry that people weren't getting reset and stuff, and it was like, what was the cutoff? How many frogs was too many? And I was just sat there, like, leveling in the Jade Forest. Barely even... Because I never played MOP, so I was just kind of enjoying it as a, never played sort of MOP before. Let's experience it sort of thing. I thought scenarios were cool. But then, like, it got to the stage where anyone was doing, like, raids, and if you had someone that was, like, had a mega cloak, they just carry it for you. It kind of got a little bit out of control. But I think it was a good thing. It was just before the, it came out just before this expansion, didn't it? And, like, the dead zone between Dragonflight. So I think that was a good idea. But I don't know about MOP Classic. I mean, if people play it, whatever. Have fun. I won't be playing it. I think that's where this entire thing stemmed from. There'll be no MOP Classic guides, guys. I'm sorry. I apologize. Anyone that was looking forward to a MOP Classic guide from Windwalker POV. Yeah. I'm gonna tell you now. Yeah, I'm gonna say it now. It's not happening. No, I know that wasn't MOP. I know that wasn't MOP. That was MOP Remix. I think, like, what I was trying to say on that point was that was, like, Blizzard's way of testing out will people play Classic MOP. Like, they were testing the waters, like, how many people will actually play MOP if we re-release it as Classic? Because they're getting into the zone now where it's like, are people going to actually play these re-released versions of the game? Like, I'd love for WOD Remix, right? Now you're talking, now you're cooking. Bring out WOD Remix. I'd play that. Okay, we stopped wiping to those packs. That's good. I think Celestial Conduit feels good in the Rookery. Out of a lot of the dungeons that I've tested it on, Rookery definitely feels like a good one for it, because there doesn't seem to be any sort of trash packs that are like low in numbers. Everything seems to be relatively like fat. Like there's like packs usually consist of like 3 to 5 or whatever. There are some dungeons like Operation Mechagun, I noticed it a lot, where there are a lot of packs of like 1 or 2, and it makes it really awkward for when you'd actually be able to use your cooldowns. But look at this, like packs of 4 and stuff are like beautiful. They're what I want to see. And then it means like it feels like worthwhile to pop all my cooldowns on these. Well, don't get me wrong, Shadowpan's fun, but if you enjoy big numbers, you want to play Conduit. This boss is kind of chilling. I think they added like a couple of mechanics compared to what it did on like Heroic Retail at the moment. They made it a little bit tougher, because realistically I think it did nothing. Like for instance, these electric orbs. I swear there was only one. Maybe I'm just gaslighting myself, but what I usually do for these is I just put a Transcendence down, and then you're not having to run around the entire platform. I mean, I guess if you're running as a group, it's not too bad. But if you just Transcendence one, then you're just kind of chilling. Probably unnecessary, though. Depends where the healer is. I imagine you just run as a group. Oh, healer's dead. That's where the healer is. Well, we have no healer, but you can see that there's actually not that much damage that comes out. It's all avoidable damage, really. It's kind of a chill fight. You don't need a healer for this. Maybe in this phase, a little bit. Reset? What do you mean reset? We're winning. Kind of. Who said reset? If someone said reset, but they were... Reset. I think we need to reset, guys. I don't... Yeah, let's reset the boss. There was a currency in Remix you could buy all armor sets from MOP and mounts. I was hooked thanks to that because it was missing stuff. Oh, I see. So you could play MOP Remix and then basically buy any of the stuff from the expansion that you didn't have. That's kind of cool, though. That's alright. It gives you a reason to play. As long as you couldn't buy that currency with WoW tokens. And then... As long as, like... Yeah. I mean, whatever, actually. If you can buy it with WoW tokens, sure. But it just feels a bit cheating. Yeah, I guess that's why a lot of people played for, like, mogs and stuff, cosmetics. I'm not really a cosmetic player anymore. Like, don't get me wrong. When I, like, first started this game, I'd be running ICC every week. I'd be going for, like, random achievements that you'd never heard of. Like, I was just, I really enjoyed that aspect of the game. I'm dead? Yep. I should have rolled. I really enjoyed that aspect of the game, but I think I just got a lot more into raiding and M+, and then the PvE combat of the game just kind of took over. Yeah, I'm just not really a collector anymore. Like, I think I showed this off the other day, but like, look at my... I have like 126 mounts. That's nothing, right? And I used to think I had loads as well. I used to be like, man, I've got so many mounts. I'm king of this game. And you have people with 400, like easily 400. But yeah, I enjoy the harder like PvE content. Thanks for subscribing, Cameron Laidlaw. Welcome to the chat. If you're watching the stream, I appreciate it. If you're watching a random YouTube video that I've made, thanks as well. You just can't hear me. I'm a Mog slut, so I had to get the armors. See, I'm really basic with my Mogs. Like, I'll wear an entire Mog for an entire, like, expansion. Like, this one, I really like the one that they brought out for the anniversary event. This is not coming off. Alright, I'm telling you right now. Except for maybe the orange Goku version for, the memes. I'm probably going to wear this for the rest of the expansion. I'm a basic bitch, honestly. Oh, please. Oh, please. You. Don't you dare dodge my Fist of Fury. I don't know if that was a good thing that I got so many procs there, because I don't really get a Fist of Fury. Is he going to dash through me? Okay, it's just a massive blue circle you can't stand in. You can have him dash through you, I think. Noted. Oh, that's annoying. My Whirling Dragon Punch just kind of timed out. That would have been a really good filler there. Oh my god, get off me! I want to attack the Void Emissary, but the Void Emissary is in a really awkward spot right now. Where is this Void Emissary going? That was such an awkward spawn on that Emissary. It spawned as the mechanic came in, and one of the beams was targeting directly. So we couldn't really attack it, I'll be honest. Is it bad to say this fight feels nicer with less people? Like, when someone dies, suddenly you have less circles to deal with. One less melee to have to battle with to be next to the boss. I have got Void buff up, but I'm going to save Strike Storm, Earth, and Fire for my next Strike of the Windlord. I feel like that's how you're going to want to play it. You're going to want to be like holding Storm, Earth, and Fire for Strike of the Windlord. Just maximum cooldown damage. It's just taking ages. This is taking so long. I mean, I know we have a DPS dead, but this boss has got a lot of health. Once again, plus 10. Seems like some pretty heavy scaling. I mean, granted, the other alive player is not doing much damage. No flame. Oh my god, please. Can you can you perish, you giant bird? I've seen enough. I think I've done like 10 phases of this boss now. A little bit of an exaggeration, but I've seen this electric like mechanic at least 5 times now. It's over. I do like the changes to this boss for being able to see where the lightning starts on the mid phase as boss is in the middle. Yeah, they made yeah, definitely graphically better, and I think there are 1 or 2 mechanical changes, but off the top of my head, I'm not 100% sure what those are, just because I've barely done this boss. But yeah, that's a fun fight. Maybe just a little bit too much health, or maybe we just not enough damage, actually, to be honest. It definitely felt like there was not enough damage. But I think this boss is fine. I did it last week as well, and I thought that was kind of cool. If we struggled on that boss, we were in for a ride on the second boss. I'll tell you that now. Also, thank you for subscribing, Mr. Gengar. I appreciate it. And I know you're watching the stream, so you hear it. Oh, it's a perfect pack. It's beautiful. Okay, it's not perfect. It hurts. I regret everything I just said. I'll change my mind now. It's perfect again. I like big numbers. Slicing Winds does so much damage with this build. But it's all about the burst windows. Outside the burst windows, you don't do anything nutty. That's why, like, I keep going on about these burst windows having to have, like, a lot of ads. Otherwise, you're just kind of wasting away with Conduit. But when you get, like, big pulls and you have everything up, you are going to be quite hard to beat on the damage meters. I say. He says optimistically. Until the DK enters the chat and one-shots everything. Demon Hunter has popped meta, has entered the chat. That Void Emissary is going to pop. Please don't pop. It popped. No one... I don't think anyone's targeting it. This is such a cursed dungeon group. In the nicest way possible. Yeah, but it's pretty cursed. I should have held Touch of Death, though. Usually what I do on live is I hold Touch of Death for every emissary. It's just like one of the things we're strongest at in M+. We're really good with affixes. Like, crazy good with affixes. Not that that's really a reason to ever get taken into a dungeon group, but it's one of those selling points, right? Yeah, we do affixes good, right? What's that? Orb spawn on the floor? Don't worry, guys. I pop a Ring of Peace. I got you. Oh, what's that? Avoid Emissary? I'll Touch of Death that for you guys. Can I join your dungeon? But then once again, that doesn't really matter once you get past the 12, does it? So they just completely remove the affixes. But in lower keys, we're really good. Yeah, so you hold it for this, and now look, like, you just Touch of Death it every time, and bye-bye. Suddenly, you're not having to deal with it. Plus, it does a load of damage. The main reason for that is that it's classed as having 1 health, which means that your Touch of Death is always going to do its max possible amount of damage. It's not like the reduced damage one, where, like, a boss is under, what is it, like 15% health or something? It'll do, like, a bit of a reduced one. Because it's under your health amount, it will hit as hard as it humanly can. Which is cool. Neat little trick for anyone that does M+. Why aren't these ads dying? Why are they all on 1 health, but they're not dropping? Oh, you want me to ring a piece as well? We can double ring a piece. Yeah, now we're cooking. Oh, thank you for subscribing, Spooks. I appreciate that. Welcome to the club. Club a la Windwalker? That sounds like more of a past dish, actually. Ignore that. So what I can see happening on high keys here is this entire room just getting absolutely pulled. Like, when you would do heroic on these, you'd pull everything down the staircase to this. But I feel like to time dungeons like this, groups are going to have to full on pull everything behind the pillar. Kind of like you do in heroic. I'm going to enjoy seeing how MDI teams do these dungeons. These ads don't, like, do anything that crazy. They, like, spawn, like, a void pool once or twice. Sure, whatever, right? Like, oh no, void pool. I'm terrified, but really not. It's not that bad. Just move out of it. Oh. I guess not everybody moved out of it. Okay, never mind. It is terrifying. Healer's not rezzing. That's fine. I think we should be fine. Just move out the pool earlier. Maybe ring a piece. Those two might be the toughest pull in the run. Oh, well, he's saying the exact opposite of what I'm saying. Where I said these are like the easiest. Just pull them all. Okay, for a DPS they're chill, but a healer's another thing, isn't it? They see what's actually going on in a fight. But realistically, as long as you move out the void circle and do some interrupts, those are not bad for DPS. Thanks, Ed. I panic now. Oh, void emissary. No, that's going to pop, and those ads are going to get buffed. Cool. Oh, no. Oh, no. Things you don't want to see when you turn a corner. Oh, my God. Okay. Also, I don't think you're meant to pull the sleeping ones. Last time I ran this dungeon, we pulled none of the sleeping ones, and you just pull everything down at the bottom, and percentage seems to be alright. We might have overpulled here. These might be chill for DPS, but look, yeah, healing-wise, they were wrecking us. This might be a defensive angle then. Oh my god. The double Zuck suck. Yeah, it's a defensive angle. It's every defensive in the book. I think my healer forgot to defensive angle, which is bad. Because now we're gonna die. I might be able to damage them down though fast enough. I got my whole burst window off. It depends what they... Yeah, not good. Yeah, I'm just gonna die. Healer needs to stop. If the healer dies, it's over on these guys. If they get their second cast out with no heals, you are just done. Nightmare. Okay, they suck you from like the other side of the They suck you from the other side of the dungeon as well. Oh my god. The unavoidable damage is so overtuned. I don't know. I think it only feels bad because the healer keeps dying, right? Power defensive and it's not too bad. We are not 629 eye level, by the way. That is cap. We're 665. We are 665 eye level. Yeah, I know we scaled, but we scaled to 665, right? Am I crazy? Yeah, yeah, sorry, I've just been thinking this whole time about 629. We are not. Every dungeon has different scaling. I've done enough dungeons to be pretty confident in this. Like in raids, you're 640. You're 6 like 43 in the raid PTR, but the number on the left is what you're scaled to. So like I've got 6 like 70 odd eye level gear on at the moment, but it all gets scaled per your dungeon. And we are definitely scaled to 665s. Which makes sense, right? You wouldn't even be able to do a 10 in 620 eye level gear. You would just die. Because obviously the dungeons are scaled up to your eye level. Relatively to what season you're on. So, like, they expect you to be in roughly this eye level gear for 10s. Which kind of goes back to the point... Okay, I should probably explain this boss. Basically, we're screwed, because I guarantee no one knows how to do this boss. But you want to, like... This will always target the furthest player, right? So the furthest player kind of wants to go into the corner of the room, and then this lightning circle will always target, like, a different person every time, and it jumps. So, like, yeah. So if you get the overlap of the jump and the circle, you need a big defensive. Like, I did there, but I didn't. But basically, you're going to want to have, like, the furthest player stand in these corners. Every time he jumps, he'll jump into the corner. Then you're not suffering too much on room. So as you can see, like, all the circles, like, you're kind of getting, like, screwed here by room. And then these electric circles, they'll jump between all the players, like, in the melee area. I don't know if they can double stack. Like, they might just jump to the closest player to you at the time. They're not too bad on their own, but when he jumps and you have one at the same time, like just happened to me, that's the biggest damage by far, and it's not even close. Dark Gravity's okay. You can actually stay in this until the pop. Like, if you're greedy, you could stay in, hit him, and then roll out at the last second, and you'll be fine. So the way you play it is basically stack loosely around this guy with the one range in the corner each time, and it's pretty chill. I could explain all of that in party chat, but that's a lot of typing, guys. I think I'll just accept what happens here. Is that bad, should I? Oh, it's a lot of typing. No, I refuse. I'm not typing all that out. Like, we can learn. We can learn. Maybe I just say he jumps. Oh, okay. Never mind. And the tank just said, I've got to go. Thanks for the group. Okay, buddy. Anyone want to put any bets on if he actually has to go? I'll see him queued up for another dungeon in a sec. That's fair enough. This group was a little cooked. Guys, I gotta go. At least it's more polite than the Alt F4, right? I've seen a lot of Alt F4s. At least he speaks to us. Guys, I gotta go. Anywhere but this dungeon. Oh, fair enough. It's a shame, because I think the Rookery is one of the best dungeons for me to get, like, a really good idea of how Conduit does overall in a dungeon. Like, it's like a really good baseline, just because of ad packs and stuff. Like, Slicing Winds does so much damage when, like, you use it effectively. But, like, look at this list. It's kind of what I keep going on about. I've gone over it a few times now, but it's kind of a point I want to drive home. Is, like, look at Strike of the Windlord's damage, right? Overall, your Strike of the Windlord's only doing 2% at a push. That's, like, not a lot of damage. That's less than Rushing Jade Wind, which is the talent that you take on top of Strike of the Windlord, right? Like, it's really not a strong ability. Thunder Fist as well, right? You know, you can get as many stacks as you want and increase your melee damage with it. It's still only, like, 1.6, so really... Overall, Strike of the Windlord's really bad. And it's something that, like, it's kind of a misconception. Because I thought this as well when I was playing Windwalker at the start of the season. Like, Thunder Fist, the word Strike of the Windlord was a really strong ability, and you need to focus around it a lot. It's right now, it is a glorified cooldown reduction. Doesn't do anything. It's really kind of misleading. All the damage comes from Gale Force, and I'll highlight this. Like, look at Gale Force. Gale Force is doing 4% of your damage overall, and that's basically the additional damage you get for anything you cast for 10 seconds after Strike of the Windlord. So Gale Force is where all of the damage comes from. from the Strike of the Windlord ability. And that's kind of why it's not worth taking it for Shadow Plan, and why it's better just to focus on Blackout Kick, Crackling Jade Lightning. And whenever I say Rising Sun Kick is like an ability that like you're kind of focusing on taking for Shadow Pan and stuff, it's not because Rising Sun Kick's good, it's because Rising Sun Kick in Mythic Plus is a glorified Fist of Fury cooldown resetter, right? So you take like Brawler's Intensity because it makes Rising Sun Kick a shorter cooldown, and it all kind of stems back to the idea that you're only really using Rising Sun Kick to reduce the cooldown of Fist of Fury, because that's where all your damage comes from. So, yeah. I mean, when I make the guide, this will be like the sort of stuff that I cover. I think it's yeah, I get a lot of use out of this PTR as well, because it's going to help me make a guide that's accurate. I don't really want to make a guide that is like inaccurate, but it also like gives me a lot of testing on it as well to get the head start. So I very much enjoyed playing PCR, no matter how rough some of these groups have been. But yeah, that's kind of the main concept about Strike of the Windlord. Because it's easier to visualize how good an ability is when you actually look at its raw damage numbers. So I think, like, yeah, that's the best way to kind of show it. Show your items and talents. Yeah, so right now, I'm not on the PTR character I want to be on, because the other one's kind of bricked at the moment. So right now I'm running all of like the new build and everything. So stat wise, don't worry about these stats right now. And in terms of set pieces, I'm 99% sure we'll be running head, shoulders, gloves, and chest. The reason I don't think we'll be running legs is because it's crit burst. It's like the worst of the bunch. So I'd be very surprised if we run the legs in our 4 set. In terms of weapons, Capo's Molten Knuckles is really, really good. It drops from Gallywix, and it's a rare item, so good luck ever getting this weapon. Yep, you're not going to get this. But it does a hell of a lot of damage. If we look at the breakdown, I can't really point to it, but like, about halfway down, it's done about 1% of my damage, but you've got to add it to Molten Gold, which is a little bit below it. So overall, this has done about 2% of my damage, which is a weapon, right? Passive, you don't have to think about. It's done about the same amount of damage as Strike of the Windlord. So yeah, there's your comparison to Strike of the Windlord. So I think crafted weapon will be our Biss. I don't have one on this character. I have it on my other one. So crafted weapon probably going to be Biss along with the Capos. Gallywix's Iron Thumb I just use because it's the only other weapon I have, but kind of meh, to be honest. It's not great. Trinkets House of Cards I really rate. I think it's going to be the one you have to take to do Conduit of the Celestial. Without it, you're probably going to suffer. Kind of like how you suffer on retail now without having Treacherous Transmitter. Like, if you don't have a Treacherous Transmitter on live, you're trolling if you go Celestial Conduit, just because the damage between having a agility buff conduit and not is just night and day. Like, you might as well just go Shadow Pan. So this is like the only 1 minute 30 trinket at the moment. House of Cards, really good. I don't think it'll be the best for Shadow Pan. It kind of feels a little bit meh. It might be, but meh. I haven't really worked out what might be a good talent trinket for Shadow Pan. A lot of them just seem kind of gimmicky. One trinket that I always use as well is the Reverb Radio, which drops from... Is it Ricky Ricky? Ricky Ricky Reverb. It must be right. Yeah, Reverb Radio. It's basically a massive stat stick for haste. It'll constantly give you haste that ramps up, and then it like duplicates itself by 100%. So it's just a massive haste trinket. So I'd be very surprised if we don't use this. You know, we love haste. This ring is a Gallywix ring. You're never gonna get it. I'm sorry to be the guy that has to tell you. It's gonna be like the... If you didn't see the ring from Ansarak, you ain't seeing this ring. But it's kind of like a give stats to other players sort of ring. So it kind of like... It's a teamwork ring. But the stats are decent. Haste Mastery, so it isn't bad. But I'm basically... The gear I have at the moment is only the gear that you can get at the moment. So a lot of like dungeon loot and stuff like that. Like dungeon legs or dungeon chest or dungeon shoulders, whatever. You can't use them. The only thing you could get is tier set pieces or trinkets or weapons. So hopefully that helps. In terms of talents that you wanted to see, This is like the cookie cutter Conduit the Celestial AoE build at the moment. Seems to be like pretty popular. And for Shadow Pan, so you're running the new talent Slicing Wind. And for Shadow Pan, it's almost like the opposite side. And this one is like the cookie cutter M+ Shadow Pan one at the moment. But obviously these are all like the opportunities to change and stuff. This is what like is working out to seem like the best at the moment. Like obviously you're always gonna have meta talents, right? Like at the start of PTR I was trying out everything, but eventually something emerges as the better lineup. It's just how the game works, guys. But yeah, it's more of like a left side tree. So this is like Emperor Palpatine, shoot lightning out, and the other one's dashing wind crazy cooldown. For 10s, we will be 665 eye level. I mean, I don't know if you'll have to be that. I just go off of what scaling is, right? And scaling on PTR is not representative of what eye level you'll be. For instance, for the raid, you can see that I'm 673 eye level now on the PTR. When we got into Mythic plus raid testing, they scaled us down to 644, which is 5 eye levels more than you are at max gear on live, which is really, really low, right? That's kind of crazy low. So everything was like doing tons of damage and stuff. We won't be going into Mythic at that eye level. That would be kind of trolling. I think it's just a way of balancing it out. Like if I do a +2 or something at the moment, it will pump me down to 623 eye level or something really low like that. And what that means is you're a lower eye level than you would be in current retail. So I wouldn't take the scaling too much to heart in what it means on the PTR, because obviously you're not downgrading your eye level to lower than it is on live to do +2s. But it's just kind of the way it turns out on the PTR, so that they can get a more accurate representation, I guess, of what you'll roughly be. I think that kind of makes sense. It doesn't really matter what the scaling is right now on the PTR. But it does mean, like, if sometimes it looks like I'm only doing, like, 2 million damage overall, but then I do a +2 and suddenly I'm only doing 1 million damage, and you're like, whoa, why do these damage numbers vary so much dungeon to dungeon? It's because the gear scaling. The gear scaling on the PTR is so whack. Like, you're all over the place, so it's kind of hard to compare keys to one another unless you're doing the exact same keystone level. I think that makes sense. Made sense in my head. Made sense when I said it. I understood it. I'm just going to take a quick little break, guys. 5 minutes, in and out, fast, and then we'll do... Nope, that's the wrong timer. Then we'll do a couple more dungeons. I'm hoping to get... what do you call it? I'm hoping to get... Priory of the Sacred, whatever it's called, Flame. I want to do one of those, because last time I did it, it sucked, so hopefully it doesn't suck. It's also a really cool dungeon. I like the whole, like... I know they're not the Scarlet Monastery people, whatever they're called. I know they're not, but like it's got that aesthetic, right? It is. And I also want to do Dark Flame Cleft. The name completely lost me. The one with the candles, because they've also changed that one. I think they're both cool, but I haven't seen many groups for those, so fingers crossed after I'm back we'll get into some of those. Okay, won't be long. Where is he? I was hiding. I was hiding from you, Etsy. I'm back, though. I'm back, baby. I tend to take like a 5-minute break halfway through all of my streams just to like get a glass of water, just kind of reset myself. Oh no. Where are the dungeon groups? Panic. Oh, no. Oh, heroic. I don't really want to do a heroic dungeon. Ew. I might do a heroic dungeon. Just because I want to do more, like, not because, like, I just want to go into Darkflame Cleft and actually play it. Invite me. Oh my god, I thought I was going to get blocked from that. Yeah, okay, this is going to be, I'm not even going to bother going Conduit here. Because if you go Conduit in this, everything's going to die instantly. I just want to kind of see, I just want to learn these dungeons as well. It's worth, like, testing them out, but yeah. Usually I do not do heroic dungeons. But I'd like to see the changes they've made. I noted, like, all these dungeons had, like, add cooldowns increased and stuff, because everything was casting way too fast. So that was a good change. It'll be interesting to see, because there was a lot of things that were one-shotting. I also want to try and learn some of the bosses as well. For instance, like, I went into Darkflame Cleft last week, or the week before, and I didn't understand what any of these bosses were doing. Like, there was a candle boss, and it made no sense. So it'd be kind of good to learn what these dungeons actually do. They kicked me! What? What do you mean? That is... What? They kicked me! I got kicked! I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how to react to that. That is rough. I've also checked Discord. Thank you for anyone that's joined. Yeah, I appreciate you all joining. Basically, it's just an easy way for me to communicate with everyone, and we can also like chat in there. Well, I wanted to like I'm looking for a group. I might as well talk through some of my ideas for it. So I made like these channels. You might not see all of them because it depends what you basically select in channels and roles. So if you select like these ones, basically bring up the Windwalker, Brewmaster, and Mistweaver ones. So the idea for these is like I get a lot of questions in YouTube comments asking about certain things and stuff. So this like just seems like a good way. If you're like Windwalker question, I can answer them here, and then other people have those questions as well. They might look through these channels and have a little look and see if there's anything like relevant. Because like what I find in the comments is I get asked the same questions a lot, which is not an issue, but I think it's easier. Like people want to find the information, obviously, so it makes sense to have it all in one certain spot. Yeah, brainstorm room. This is because I get a lot of requests as well. Like people have certain ideas for like what sort of content they want to see, or maybe they want like certain guides on certain things. So if you have like an idea, like maybe you want to see, maybe you'd like to see a macro video, something like that. Just pop a question in there, say, oh cool, I'd like to see a macro guide or something like that. It's just basic ideas like that, just so that we can all, so I can get a feel for what people actually want to see, guide wise. Not that I can't come up with my own ideas, but it helps. I got declined. What is all this hate? All this monk hate? They didn't think I could cut an 11. Huh? What's the max eye level for PTR? That's a good question. It's difficult to tell, because everything scales. I think you might be able to scale all the way up to like what I am now if you're doing like 15s and 16s. So it's like every instance you do is scaled, right? So if you do a +2, you're scaled down to 621 or something like that, something ridiculously low. In raids, it was 644. In the dungeon I just did a 10, it was 665. But gear-wise, the max eye level for Season 2 is going to be 678. So you can see all of the tier set pieces I have are 678. So that's like peak eye level. When you're maxed out for the next season, you should be 678 overall. Yeah, 671. But I wouldn't worry about what your eye level actually is, because on my other character, my eye level is like 650 something. So it's not max, but you get scaled regardless. So you can wear whatever you want. You'll get scaled. If you wear your Season 1 gear, it'll get scaled up, for instance. So wear group. We're not getting invited to a 10 Cinder Brew. They're just like, no. What do you mean? Let me in. I just want to play the game, guys. Oh, I need to reroll. I should have made a Shaman YouTube channel. I'd be in every group. Enhanced Shaman. 4 million damage in single target. By pressing this one button. 10 million damage in AoE with this one simple trick. Press Tremor Totem. That's it. That's my guide. How to play Shaman 101. Every 30 seconds, you press Tremor Totem. And then you top the meters. Yep. Why don't I start a viewer key? Yeah, I don't mind. If you guys want to play, that's absolutely fine. I just know that the reason I never really suggested it is I imagine most people watching are all Windwalkers. We can't 5-mana Windwalker key. But that's a good idea. Maybe not today, but I might make like a post or anything for like the next time I do streaming if anyone wants to play, set up a group or something. That sounds like a cool idea. I just know that like obviously some people dual spec and stuff. Not everybody plays the PTR as well. That might be easier on live. But in my mind I was like, well, everybody here's a Windwalker. We can't 5-man Windwalker. Can you imagine, like, we set up a group, we've got 3 Windwalker DPS, who no one's joining that group. They're like, absolutely not. Tank sees that and he just aborts. He's just like, nope. Fake DC. But no, that's a cool idea. I might try feel that one out in the Discord. I'll post like a message, see if anyone wants to do anything. On Wednesday is the next dungeon stream. Actually... no, I might be lying. Why might I be lying? Because they have released more PTR bosses. Let me just check 1 second. What day those come out. Because we're going to do more PTR bosses. Okay, so on Wednesday, when I usually stream like 4 to 8 is my usual like UK times. More or less. Like 8 isn't like a definite end, but it's roughly when I'll finish. On Wednesday this week, though, or next week coming, it's going to be the, like, PTR raid testing for the 2 other bosses that were bugged. Surprise, surprise. I'm pretty sure, like, literally almost every single raid boss was bugged on the PTR. So they're releasing, well, re-releasing Styx, this guy over here. His main mechanic is that you need to go collect all of these, like, garbage balls and roll them into the boss and stuff, and that's the main mechanic. On PTR raiding, none of that worked. Like, you couldn't do that. So we spent an hour just wiping because you couldn't do the main mechanic. And then they're also redoing the one-arm bandit. So my guild is going to redo both of those on Wednesday, and then I imagine after that we're probably going to go into retail again and do some raids, which we did the other night, which was quite fun. I streamed some of that. I haven't really streamed live much, but I'll be streaming a lot of live coming March when the new season's out. It's going to be a lot of raid streams. What was this? Where am I going? Oh, Operation Floodgate. Cool. Also trying to get into that 4th Floodgate. Don't call me out like that. So, like, some days I, like, have no issues on the PTR getting into any groups. People are, like, real chill. Because some people just don't care. They're like, oh, well, it's PTR. Just take whatever, like, groups up. Some days, like, the other day I got declined, like, 10 times in a row. No one would take me for anything. It felt so... It felt like I was on retail. Honest to God. I was like, what is this? Let me in. Let me play the game. Yes, this is the public testing realm, but not for you. Everybody else gets to test, but you, Windwalker, you made your bed. We'll go Shadow Pan for this one, because it's a lower key. The reason I predominantly go Shadow Pan for the lower ones is because Celestial Conduit, you need, like, ads to stay alive for longer. Otherwise, you're just wasting all of your cooldowns. It's definitely, like, a higher key sort of angle thing to be going Conduit. Whereas Shadow Pan, you can just consistently do damage across the whole key. It's no big, like, issue. Celestial Conduit, I don't think you want to be running it in lower keys. You just end up blowing all your cooldowns on ads that are about to die. I mean, it's fine. It's probably a good place to learn Celestial Conduit lower keys, but you'll know what I mean when you're running them and you're, like, popping all your big cooldowns and everything's dead and you're like, well, I got no value out of that. What's the point? Whereas the only thing you really have to worry about with Shadow Pan is the Crackling Jade Lightning, getting that off. And you can probably do that at the start of a pull. Windwalker isn't part of the public. Oh! I didn't even notice, Spooks. Hi! I didn't even notice you were in the dungeon with me. Alright, Feral and Windwalker in the same group. How do we get in? Don't tell anybody. We snuck in. We snuck in the back door. Show me what you got. Windwalker isn't part of the public. Oh. You're not meant to say those things. Those are, like, things that we all know, but you don't say it out loud. It's just depressing when you say it out loud. So I think it's the tank's first time in here, so I'm just going to let him do what he wants to do. Ooh, we got some decent feral damage coming out here. I have no idea how feral works, by the way. Doesn't it? Isn't it just like bleeds and rips and stuff? Aren't you like a melee dot class, basically? Probably one of the reasons I don't particularly like feral druid. Like, not as a class, I don't like playing it. I don't like dot classes. It's why I hated assassination rogue when I played rogue. If I was playing a dot class, I'd want to be ranged, right? Like, having to, like, tag everything constantly is just... Nah. Nah. It's CBA. It's a Fury rogue. A very, very angry rogue. Yeah, so this is the new dungeon for anyone that hasn't watched any of PTR of this dungeon. It's pretty good. I think it's probably the most balanced dungeon of all the dungeons they've released. Probably because they basically made it from, not the ground up, but it wasn't like already in the game, so they had to rebalance it. I think it's the most well-balanced one of them all. Even though they have nerfed it a couple of times, I think it's just fine. I didn't think they really had to nerf it. There are like a few things that were a little bit crazy in it, but otherwise it's fine. How do I ping on this character? It's not T, is it? Okay, well, we need to go back and pop those boxes, but it's fine. I'm sure we'll do it at some point. There are... Like, ad packs like these are kind of fine in this dungeon. The only real thing to worry about are, like, the long casts. If they cast, like, not necessarily trick shot, but they cast, like, a red lava laser occasionally, and if that goes on for too long, it will one-shot the target. So if that's on your healer, your group's wiped, pretty much. The Bloodwalker is one of the scariest ones in the entire dungeon, and you need a defensive for this. He will drain your entire group's health bar. If he gets 2 casts off, you're dead. Like, like genuinely, you are dead. So I'll pop Diffuse Magic for this, but pay attention to everybody's health bars when he casts Warp Blood. So I've Diffuse Magicked it, so I shouldn't take too much. But everybody else was taking a fair bit. It's only a +4, so not the greatest representation, but doing this on a 10, if you didn't pop a defensive, you were dead. And they nerfed this, so I'm not sure if it'll get a few more nerfs. It's not, like, impossible to handle, and a +4 isn't, like, the greatest representation of what I'm trying to say about it, but that really hurts. You need to you need to have something up for that. This is a boss. Main concept of this boss is kill ads. Ads have to die. If the ads stay up for too long, they all start casting, and the casts are basically what's going to wipe your group on this one. So ad priority is important, and it'll spawn ads every main phase. So phase 1 isn't too bad. You can see they all dash about, right? So they all get separated quite a lot, and then they start casting maximum distortion. They can't be hard CC'd, it has to be kicked. But when they start casting this, and they're all over the place, it is rip. It'll make... See, look, he's casting it now, and we're in trouble. It'll make more sense when we get into the next phase why this is an issue. Like, it's not too bad right now. Well, it is a little bit, actually. The lads are not dying. So... Okay, we lost it. So now they'll jumpstart. This got nerfed. This lasts for ages, and it does massive magic damage. On higher keys, this will nuke your group down. It's another thing you'll need a defensive for. Like, no questions. But once it's finished, she starts putting this static zone on the floor. And this only gets bigger as the fight progresses. So once you start getting these ads and they start dashing inside of these zones, suddenly you're all taking massive damage. You can't interrupt. It gets out of control really quickly. So boss needs to die, but at the same time, if the ads are not, like, dipping, you're in some serious trouble. If you get this ability on you, just move backwards and then walk out. It's like a massive AoE silence. It also knocks back, so don't aim at your group. Otherwise, casters are going to cry. But, yeah, I think we have this pretty much under control. So long as the ads just die, you're pretty chill. I did think this was the hardest boss in the entire dungeon when I started doing PCR testing. But I think the hardest boss is the third one. And not because it's a hard boss, but because it requires teamwork and communication. I know, right? Teamwork and communication. Uh-oh. Teamwork and communication in a pug? Oh, no. That's a big ask. But like, look at the static floor, right? So then suddenly ads start jumping in there. You're on the third phase. Things just get out of control really quickly here. Luckily, it's the first boss, so if you wipe on it, you can just restart your key. Smile. I don't know where my ping button is, but I need to, like... I want to be... If I could ping, I'd say that we need to kill these ads up here. Damn, Feral's energy is still ew. Oh, no. How do I ping? I don't know what my ping button is. These boxes. Ping on the map. It's not quite the ping I was looking for. Yeah, so you basically have to go around this entire dungeon, popping all of these boxes, and they're all kind of like spread out. It's pretty chill. It's a pretty chill dungeon. It kind of makes sense. Gives you kind of a set path to do. Oh. I'm gonna blow up. Oh! I thought I was gonna block because I was typing. So there's one at the start, just over here, that we skipped. There's one over there by the second boss. There's another one just here on this platform. There's one by the third boss? Second boss? These Shreddinators are also really scary, right? They're going to place a massive, like, saw on the ground where every player was previously positioned. As long as you just keep moving, you'll be fine. If you're all melee, though, they're all going to spawn on top of you, right? Like, right now, they're all going to spawn on top. So you just need to move pre-advance for these, and you should be fine. Other than that, he casts Flamethrower. You cannot get hit by this. You will just die. It's just a frontal he does. It's not, like, aimed on anyone. It might be aimed where the tank previously was. Either way, you can't stand in it. You will just get one shot. I've been one shot by Flamethrower more than I'd like to admit. But these are, like, probably the second scariest ads after the Warp Blood one I talked about earlier. They nerf these heavily. These used to come out, like, super often. And on top of that, the damage doesn't tick instantly, but it used to tick a lot faster. So if you had, like, 3 stacked on top of each other as a melee group, you would just one-shot. There was nothing you could do. But it's just about movement. As long as you just keep, like, slight moving, or move out before they spawn in, you're probably fine. Here, you need to bring everything underneath the scaffolding. Because with these ads, they shoot nail guns. They aren't targetable. Oh, this is the beam I was talking about. Yeah, that needs to be interrupted. I'm in danger. Yeah, the scaffolding needs to be knocked down. Otherwise, they're going to constantly root your group. And, like, a healer will just get CC rooted, not be able to get up to you, and they'll just perish. And there's no real point Tiger's lusting it, because he just constantly casts it, right? You lust yourself in... Unless you have to move out of that position, it is not worth it. A neat trick with those is that you can pretty much instantly touch of death the scaffolding, though. I'm not going to do it for this dungeon, because the affix is the Void lady. That's more important to just one-shot with touch of death. But neat trick there for monks. You can just one-shot the scaffolding, pretty much. Where are we going? Not... Oh, right, yeah, and there's one more box over here. Okay, yeah. I was like, why are we going back this way? I should remember that. There's, yeah, one more set of boxes over here. So they're all kind of in this main area. You don't have to go too far out your way. So usually what you would do is we went up to the boss via those stairs, but it usually makes more sense to come up to this pack over here, pop this box, and then run up and do the boss over this way. But there are multiple pathings for this dungeon. Like, for instance, you can run up all the way up these stairs and take this goblin glider down to the other side. Completely unnecessary, unless it's like some sort of percentage skip that might see play. But you can just literally walk across the water and it does the same thing. Looks like we might go for this goblin glider skip. It's kind of funny, but semi-pointless. Healer dead. That's not good. Can we bring the ads back? We're gonna get double warp blood here. That is gonna hurt. I should be okay though. Defensives and maybe Vivify might save my life. Oh look, we have a Void Emissary. Amazing. On top of everything else. Okay. Oh, I got insta-res, but I pressed the release at the same time. Yeah, so Crackling Jade Lightning does about 8% damage. That's roughly what it should do for the whole dungeon. Like, a lot of questions I get is what's better, Slicing Winds or Crackling Jade Lightning, right? It's like it makes sense because they're both brand new ability talents that are new for this season. Realistically, they shouldn't be compared because they're almost like completely different builds you go. But roughly, they do about the same overall damage. Which is kind of fine, right? But like it's not looking likely that you'll run Crackling Jade Lightning for Conduit, for instance. But you would run it for Shadow Pan and vice versa. So, but like in general terms of how do these two talents like stack up against each other and like overall damage, they do about the same. If you play them like optimally, they'll do like literally about the same damage. I could imagine Slicing Winds you could probably get more out of though, overall. Just because of the cooldown reduction, like, not abuse, but mechanic, you can like just spam that thing. Whereas Crackling Jade Lightning, you're kind of, yeah, you're based on your cooldown of it, so you're kind of limited, but then you also need like the perfect amount of adds for it. Whereas Slicing Winds, it's not too bad. You can just cast on whatever the hell you want to, and you always have it up. Feral is not nice to play. Oh no. I guess it's back to Windwalker for you then. Feral's not it then. So yeah, this is the Goblin Glider tech I was talking about. So you can run up this way, get a Goblin Glider, and then like kind of shoot your way down. Alternatively, you can literally just walk across the you can walk across the water. Like the only thing you really dodge are these divers, sure. We need to do the scaffolding. Yeah. I was about to panic there. I don't know how ideal that pathing will be. Because there's no boxes up there either, so there's kind of almost no point to go up there. And there's still a lot of like adds down at the bottom half of this dungeon that you can do for percentage. But I guess it's kind of fun, a little bit gimmicky. But genuinely absolutely pointless. You skip nothing. You skip absolutely nothing. I'm going to save my cooldowns for the next pack. Even though it's like a really small pack, it's two of those Shredders. And so they both cast the Shreddination, whatever you want to call... Oh, that is what it's called. I don't know why I said that. But the Shreddination. So suddenly you're getting like upwards of 10 saws on the floor at one time. Super easy to get one shot here. 2 flamethrowers you have to dodge. These ads just need to die so quickly. Like I think you're gonna... The strat will either be to... CC 1, so you only fight one at a time. You can skip these ads if you have a Warlock. Ow. But nuking 1 is definitely going to be the strat. Because it just gets out of control. Also, I said I was going to pop my cooldowns, and I kind of did. I don't know what I'm talking about. Ignore me. My brain's fried. Yeah, so you see, 3 players stood on top of each other, suddenly 3 saws spawn at once. Like, if you're on like a high keystone or something, you're just gonna get nuked. Like, this gets out of control so quickly. And we've pulled like tons of packs as well. This is going so bad. I think it might be alright because it's a... I had to interrupt my crackling there as well to save myself. I think it's alright because it's only a +4, so we're not being punished as much as we could, but... Yeah, this will get out of control really quickly. Surveying Beam needs to be stopped as well. It nukes people. Oh, I don't have anything left. I got nothing left. Feral Druid's slow. That's a shame because Windwalker's really fast. Oh, I love Windwalker. This boss is cool. Kiza does nothing. She'll shoot 3 lines forward, and she also spawns the bombs, I think. So the main gimmick of this fight is tons of bombs on the floor, right? That you need to blow up. And if they blow up, or you've blown them all up, you wipe. Kind of like Siege of Borealis, right? So they all spawn here. So how do you get rid of them? Two ways. This massive orange circle can be dispelled on top of a bomb, and that does it. Alternatively, the big guy charges, right? He'll charge at one player, and any bombs he dashes through, they get popped. So there's two ways of getting rid of these bombs. Unfortunately, we've got tons of bombs still up. So I think we are going to wipe here, because they just didn't get charged through the boss. This is going to hurt. Yeah. Somehow we survived that. I'm going to say it's because it's a +4. You're not meant to survive that. You just aren't. You should die there. Like, one bomb should blow you up on a higher key. I haven't really been targeted yet, so I can't really show the dash mechanic. But you can see, like, he gets a big arrow on him. I don't think just me and the tank can do this. RIP spooks. Well, you definitely see the mechanic now when he starts charging me. So I get this on me. What you can do is you can diffuse magic this off yourself, because it needs to be dispelled. And then I also get the dash, so you want to dash him through the bombs, but there is no really surviving that at this point. Yeah, so diffuse magic can be used to get rid of that off of yourself. Just make sure you stood on top of one of the, like, a few bombs. Otherwise, you're kind of trolling a little bit. Rest in peace, me. I'm playing Shadowpan? Yeah, for this dungeon I am playing Shadowpan. Why can't I release? The main reason I'm playing Shadowpan for this dungeon specifically is because it's a +4. So everything dies a lot faster. Which kind of feels a little bit like Conduit the Celestial, you need things to stay up for longer to get like max burst damage out of it. It would feel bad playing it on this dungeon. Shadowpan also allows me to talk a bit more to anyone that like types in chat and stuff. Just because I don't have to think as much. Like, Celestial Conduit requires a lot more brain power. And I'm not very good at multitasking. I don't want to just, like I'm going to do another Celestial Conduit run after this, but it's, yeah, Shadowpan feels like it's a lot easier. Yeah. The other thing about these two bosses, they work exactly like Stone Vault bosses. One dies too fast, the other boss gets enraged, and you're in trouble. Survival Hunter. Survival Hunters are cool. Unholy DKs are good as well. Maybe try Unholy. See what that's like. Although I don't think I've ever... Or maybe Survival. Survival could be cool. I don't know what really changes they made to these classes. Play what you want, man. Play what you want. You got it, Cap. Yeah, so these two, you need to kill them at the same time, otherwise one of the two gets enraged. Usually Bron is the one that stays up longer, because he's a lot harder to, like, keep damaging, because obviously he's running around the map like an absolute lunatic. So really, the ideal thing to do is to try focus him as much as possible at the start, and when he's not dashing around. Because Keys so much... Keys barely moves, right? Keys has always kind of stood still. Okay, so we got the bombs. So basically, that's the entire fight, right? It will just repeat itself. So it's oh, I cancelled my Crackling Jade Lightning. That is painful. It's a relatively simple fight, though. It's just bomb management. The entire fight is bomb management. And there's plenty of ways to destroy the bombs. Like, usually you can basically pop all of the bombs with, like, just a couple of charges and one dispel. We're going to need a big charge here. He's not focused me at all, so I can't do any of it. We might get one bomb popping here. I'm going to calm it. But if I had to rate this dungeon like bosses from easiest to hardest, I'd say this is the easiest. Oh, so you can diffuse magic here, right? I got dispelled, but you can also diffuse magic yourself if the healer it doesn't have their dispel up or something. So you can position yourself really well. Ideally, what you want to do is position yourself and then call for a dispel, rather than insta-dispelling. But obviously that requires communication, which is always difficult in pugging. But if I could have got myself perfectly lined up there, I would have been able to hit 3 bombs at once, which takes away a lot of pressure. I do have the bomb, but we can just nuke the bosses here. We don't have to worry about the mechanic. Thank you for subscribing, Beto. Beto Gons. Welcome to the channel. I appreciate it. Leveling is Rapid Rogue already level 44 and enjoying it on Outlaw. Get to gamble with my dice rolls, which is fun for D&D enjoyer like me. Outlaw was my favorite rogue spec. No, that's a lie. Well, I really enjoyed burst classes. So subtlety I really enjoyed the aspect of bursting, but I loved Outlaw. I loved just rolling the dice. I played it in Shadowlands. And, there was nothing quite like getting all 5 of your rolls at once. Like, you'd be doing a boss, and you'd be doing subpar damage because Outlaw bad, right? it barely did anything. But then suddenly, you got your 5 things, and you suddenly soared to the moon of the DPS. Assassination can go in the bin. I hate Assassination Rogue. For these ads, they all spin. It hurts, and there are also bombs on the floor. Don't stand in them like me. And they all cast restorative algae, so CC, kicks, the whole lot, that whole jazz. Just keep everything CC'd here. But yeah, these bombs are really bad. You cannot stand on them, otherwise you're soaring into the sky. Which might be a good reason to take lighter than air for this dungeon. Obviously, you're not meant to get knocked into the sky, right? It's something you're meant to avoid. But if you do, you can just roll mid-air, lighter than air back down, and no consequences to your actions. But personally, I don't like lighter than air. I find that there's very few uses for it. It's cool, you can dash a little bit after you jump, but realistically, when do you use it? I tend to go windwalking. Windwalking barely does anything. It gives your group a little bit of movement speed, but am I dead? Oh, cool. But, a little bit of movement speed for my whole group, in my mind, is better than me getting a dash every so often. I guess it depends on the content, but the only real dungeon I would have used it on for this season was Grimbatol. So potentially for this dungeon, but I don't like lighter than air. I think it's gimmicky. Swamp Face, really cool boss. Ever done Sludge Fist? Exactly like that. You're going to get paired up with a group member. You all need to move in the same direction or you're pulling each other into mechanics. On paper, simple boss fight. All it is dodging. Except, it's dodging in teamwork. So, you can see I just got pulled there by my teammate. So, the ideal way to play this is your entire group stack up here and you just move as a unit around the boss. It's just safer this way. Oh, okay. I'm currently not paired up with anyone right now. It's because my healer died. It's going really badly, actually. There shouldn't be a bomb circle here. I've never seen a bomb circle here. So you just need to, I say communicate, but, it's almost impossible to communicate in pugs, right? Maybe go into this, boss, with an idea in mind that you always move left, right? But I've tried that before, and then suddenly, a mechanic will, look awful. Easier to dodge right. So instinctively, you dodge right. And then the one player doesn't dodge right, and then you get pulled in the mechanic and rip bozo. Oh my god, snap back to reality. Oh, there goes my health bar. I failed so hard. I'm glad I wasn't paired with you. No, I've been snapped a few times here. I just haven't been snapped into anything that kills me yet. If any of these bosses is gonna like make people angry at each other, it'll be this one. This boss is gonna make people like, 'cause this is all player determined, right? No, okay. So you can see right there, me and the healer had completely different ideas of where we were going. And whoever like moves the furthest, I think, gets pulled in. Just don't be the unlucky sucker that gets pulled in. I blame it on the first time here. Oh no, it's fine. I've died so many times to Swamp Face. But as I was saying, this is going to be like one of those bosses where you're all going to be like shouting at each other, saying, "Oh, that was your fault. No, that was your fault. You pulled me into that." This one's going to cause such rage. The tank can solo heal this. It'll be a boring watch, but he can. I've seen tanks do this before. Because he won't get a grip on him. He just has to dodge mechanic. He'll do this. It's just not going to be very entertaining to watch. Is Windwalker OP in the new raid? It's too early to tell. Windwalker feels nice at the moment. And usually, like, I'm doing decent damage in raids. But it's very early days. So, OP... I struggle to answer that question. Like, I always get asked, like, is Windwalker good? Is Windwalker good for Season 2? Are we, like, Messer? It's just too early. It feels like a cop-out answer, but it's honestly the truth. Like, I can't say that Windwalker will be OP or not. I can only determine how it feels right now on PTR. In my eyes, it plays nicely. It's the big improvement on what it was. Will it be OP? I don't know. Other classes might get buffed into oblivion still, right? There's still, like, at least 4 weeks till next season. So OP, at the end of the day, we won't be like OP, right? We're Windwalkers. But we feel better than we did before. I guess that's as good as I can get on that answer. Like, if you played Windwalker last season, you'll be very happy with where Windwalker is this season. Just playstyle-wise. Damage-wise, yeah, a little early. Is it really on some fights with Cleave where you do crazy shit with Crackling Jade Lightning? In Mythic Plus, you can. I tested it out on some of the raid bosses. On some of the raid bosses with Cleave, Crackling Jade Lightning did feel really good. Mostly because a lot of the ads in the raid... you can release here, by the way, Spooks. Most of the ads here, like in the raid, they spawn all spread out, right? So if you're going Slicing Winds, for instance, it's really awkward to, like, hit everything. Whereas Crackling Jade Lightning bounces between targets, so I found it to be quite effective at hitting everything. Which comes off, like, better than a Slicing Winds, where you're only hitting 1 or 2 of the ads, whereas a Crackling Jade Lightning could hit all 5, right? Much more value. We need to pull this off the bridge. If we pull this on the bridge, we're screwed. Okay, we're fighting it on the bridge. This will be fun. Oh my god, we're in for a treat. It's only a 4, actually. Okay, oh, it's about... Oh my god. So I've done all these dungeons before, but I don't want to come into these dungeons and tell people how to play them. Because it's for PTR. There's no, like, point. It's funnier to just, like, have people learn the dungeons on their own. I don't want to ruin the experience. But it's just as funny not telling people what they have to do. And just watching them all just get one shot. Because this is exactly what happened to me when I played my first week of PTR on this dungeon. It was horrible. But the main mechanic for this is dodge the bubbles, dodge the frontal, and pop... Okay. Dodge the bubbles, he says, as he gets hit by a bubble. I'm so bad. It's going to be a rule of always go left or right. Yeah, no, I agree. It will be a rule of go left or go right. But then the issue I had with that was I had a go left, go right rule on another pull. Another, like, dungeon group. And we said, always go left. And then a mechanic came in, and we were all stood to the right of the mechanic. So instinctively, it makes sense to go right? Because you're, like, right there. But because the call was made to go left, some people went left. So I guess you have to fully hard commit. But sometimes, like... Sometimes it makes sense to go the other way, if that makes sense. Like, sometimes it's not worth risking running through the mechanic to keep to the rule. I don't know. I died, though, so maybe I should have just gone left. But what was I saying about Crackling Jade Lightning? Yeah, Celestial Conduit feels better in Raid, and you wouldn't... I don't think you're going to run Crackling Jade Lightning with Celestial Conduit, but some bosses with ads feel better at getting cleave with Crackling Jade Lightning. But realistically, when I say that, our single target builds for the Raid at the moment are pretty AoE heavy. Like, you're going to run Spinning Crane Kick, Dance of the Chi-Ji regardless. Like, the AoE builds are pretty... I mean, the single target builds are pretty good in AoE as they are. Like, realistically, I wouldn't take Slicing Winds for any bosses right now. I think it's just better off going more single target damage and then getting your AoE off on yours, like, Spinning Crane Kick and stuff. I felt like no downside to that. Which sounds weird, right? I mean, there might be a universe where Slicing Winds is used on some bosses, but it never felt good. Uh-oh. We're in the danger zone now. This add pack is terrifying, by the way. If you pull like any more than 2 of these on a +10, good luck, guys. Like that this is a +4 and we almost got like 1 shot. These lightning bolts will do half of your health. If you get targeted by 2, you are just dead. And as you can see, they constantly cast. Like, you can kick them, but the kick... How do I describe it? Like, when you kick them, the damage, the cooldown, like, they don't get stunned for like 10 seconds or so. It's like 3 or 4 seconds, and they'll just start casting again. Yeah, very rough packs, these. Oh my god, I thought he was going to pull that with them. That would have been a rip bozo. And by bozo, I mean my entire group. We would have... Yeah, you want to be careful with that pack up there. Oh no. Oh man, it's so dark outside now. It's only 5 o'clock. What is this country? The jump starters are an interesting ad. Like, on its own, it's not too bad. But suddenly you've got to, like, be constantly... You basically want to be focusing these electricians. Like, they just need to die, right? But suddenly you've got this ad constantly spawning electric circles on the floor. If you get hit by one on a high-level key, you just get one shot. It's very similar to the ads in City of Echoes, but, like, hyperspeed. And then suddenly, after that, you get a pack of 2 of them. So you can see how many circles spawn on the floor. And if you get bad RNG... and you're stood in like the very middle of all of these, and you're a priest, you're dead. Like, you're just gone. So you just need to be constantly moving. It's not too bad on Windwalker, so we're very mobile. But they also do constant, like, passive, like, damage. So it's not just dodging, but if you're not topped, you're just gonna drop to the constant damage. But once you finish those guys, you're on the last boss. Giesel Gigazap. He's relatively straightforward, to be honest. He'll shoot out tons of lines in his phase 1, just dodge him. He'll put some big, like, electric circles around 2 players, just move out the group, maybe pop a defensive. And then his big gimmick is that he will spawn lightning orbs from the sky, and each player is targeted by one, and you need to walk them through these blue circles that have just spawned here, except only one orb can go through each one, if that makes sense. So they look like water now, but if someone brings it through them, and see, you also do not want to be putting the electric circles on top, because now you can see that they're electrified. Now you cannot move these leaping sparks through the circles. So I'm targeted by this one. You basically want to run to, literally forget about the boss for a second. Make sure that you make sure one of these runs through one of the waters. And now you no longer have to worry about it. Because if you get hit, it's like a 10-second stun. And insane damage as well. you're in a terrible state. And it's basically just repeat. So the idea is to... I think we're without a healer. We might be okay. That Void Emissary is in an awkward spot, though. Yes, the idea is, like, to not make electrified water, basically. So you can see these are electrified. Eventually, they'll go back to standard water again, so it's not too bad. So you just want to move to the very corner of a room with one of these, hit nothing on the floor, and now you've got tons of these water orbs up that you can run through with. So pick a target, whatever target. What's going to get people is a lot of people are going to focus on the boss, and then you're all running through the same, like, trying to get yours through the same water orbs. And at that point, rip Bozo, right? So tank's stunned. He's stunned for 10 seconds. Not great. You can see he's still stunned in the corner there. I don't think the stun one-shots you. But the issue with the stun is that the mechanics come and follow it. So you'll just get one shot by something that comes straight afterwards. So you low-key need to pop that. I think it's over. Tank died. Unlucky. Sometime, but I'm going to do it and yank someone. Yeah, you think you'll yank someone until they're the one that yanks you. And then who's laughing then? You'll be like, yeah, I'm going to pull this person. Joke's on you, they pull you. And then you're getting hit by a frontal. Next pack with the two big ads that put the debuff that stun you. If not dispel, it's stupid without a warlock. The two big boys. Do they stun you? I've never noticed a stun. In Conduit the Celestials... Celestial the Conduits? Whatever. Really behind for AoE, considering the 10% it has on Spinning Crane Kick. No. I've never said it's behind on AoE. I think that Conduit the Celestial is more likely to be our AoE build. Like, genuinely, I'm just running this in this dungeon, Shadowpan in this dungeon, because things will die too quickly. I think Conduit the Celestials with Slicing Wind and everything is, like, there's a high chance that'll be our meta AoE build. Like, it's crazy. I just mean for raid bosses in particular. Like, Slicing Winds, like, is kind of really awkward to hit a lot of ads on and stuff, because everything's spread out. Like, I'm not even convinced that Crackling Jade Lightning would be our go-to raid AoE build. Like, genuinely, I think our single target build is probably good enough to run in AoE. And if I was to run any of my single target builds on any of the bosses, it's the Conduit the Celestial one. I think it's way better. Yeah, no. I think Conduit Celestial is, like, really good at AoE. Great live explanations. Actually? Or is that cap? So I feel like I'm trying to explain stuff, but then at the same time I lose my train of thought. If so, though, thank you. I only know so much about what's going on here because I've run this dungeon more times than I'd like to say. Yeah, this is probably my most Run. Oh my god. Okay, I got baited there. You can see the lines like kind of lost color here. So in my mind, I thought that they only went so far, but they go all the way. I genuinely didn't think I was in that. It's that there's a lot of mechanics like that in the new raid. On the first boss in particular, there's the exact same line mechanic where the lines cut off halfway that the goblin bikers like drive. And so you think to yourself, okay, I'm not in the line. I'm at the end of the line. That's not going to hit me. They drive all the way through. So you have to basically memorize where that line finishes and make sure you don't move back into it. I think that also happens on... What's his name? Sprockmonger Lockenstock. I think there were some abilities as well there that, like, only show halfway for the visual. I think that's a design choice. I genuinely think that's, like, part of the mechanic of the fight. Like, you don't see the entire line. Like, you can obviously tell what direction it's going into, but the line, like, fades off. It, like, goes up. The opacity increases as the further it goes. And it's more like a memory test of... But yeah, Giga Zap does that as well. Okay, we're pulling again. I would like to get this boss down. So I want to, what's the dungeon I wanted to try out? Dark Flame Cleft, that's really what I want to be doing. Oh god. So you can see me in the tank and everybody's kind of gone the same way here. So this is what can happen. So it's just making sure that you know that your orb has gone through one of the water things. Because if you're all stacking them on top of each other, you're going to get confused. Other players' orbs can't hurt you, by the way. So you don't have to be terrified of that. Just make sure you look out for the one with the red arrow above it. But the tank died there, so it was rip anyway. Genuinely not a crazy hard fight. It's just going a bit poorly. I'd say Swamp Face is probably going to get the most wipes with Big Mama on this. And then the easiest one's the Bomb Boss, and probably this one. This one just has a lot of damage. But predominantly, it's not too bad. It's just high damage, but not overtuned or anything. And in terms of scaling, right, we are 639 at the moment for a +4. That's kind of roughly what you probably are going to be doing when doing +4s. I mean, you'd probably be doing +4s in your whatever gear you're doing now just to build up keys, right? But this is roughly what Blizzard expects you item level to be for a +4, more or less. It's now or never. What does that mean? That's so ominous. It's now or never. Is that a hint? It's now or at F4. I mean, we can kill this boss. Just tank can't die. I don't know what's killing him. I don't know if he's getting hit by the frontal. Like, the frontal knocks the tank backwards. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's getting knocked off the platform, which would be pretty funny, to be honest. It's now or never. This sounds like a threat. I choose now. Yeah, we've got tons of water on the other side of the room. Everybody should be alright with their stuns. So mine spawns on top of me. Awesome. I'm just going to take this one in the corner here so I don't interrupt anybody else. You lose a bit of DPS, but, like, it's fine. I just want this boss dead. And then you can just move out for this. You might need to defensive it just to take less damage, but realistically it doesn't hit that hard. It might not even be a diffuse magic angle. It might just be a karma angle, to be honest. And then the fight repeats itself. But I think we should have this one. Thunder Punch. That's the ability. Thunder Punch is the ability that knocks the tank back. So you don't want to tank this guy by the edge of the platform. Otherwise, you're just going to get knocked off the edge. And I will just move over here. Nice and relaxed. And now I can get back into the fight. Oh, he's jumping all over. And you can walk over the water puddles that look like water, but not the ones that look like electricity. I'm pretty sure you get a nasty dot. Like, I just rolled through one there, and I was definitely ticking down to something. But the water ones are fine. Yeah. Bit of a gimmicky fight, but I don't mind it. Rest in peace, Mage Electrified Water. Yeah. So that's like the Floodgate. I think it's the best dungeon. Like, not in terms of, like, easiest to do or anything, but I think it's the most well-tuned dungeon that they've done. And I think it's literally because they built it from the ground up, obviously. It's not like a legacy dungeon that's coming back that they've got to somehow balance. And it's not like a War Within dungeon that's already out that now they have to rebalance. They made this one specifically for like your item level and stuff. So I think this is the best tuned one overall. It's also fun. I think the bosses are interesting. That was something. Yeah, don't look at the timer. If you don't look at the timer, that dungeon went absolutely fine, right? No, I'm not too bothered, to be honest, with like these in the sense that I don't mind the PTR dungeons too much if like we wipe and stuff. As in the sense that like a lot of people doing the PTR are learning it. Like that tank said at the start, first time doing it, you know, it is what it is. It's when you wipe continuously and then people leave that it's a little bit annoying. Or Alt F4. I'd rather like bash my head against it a bit. Not to the extent where I'm progging a boss for an hour, because that is not enjoyable to play or for you guys to watch. Do you want to do another one, Spooks? I was going to see if I can make my own group. I'll just make one for a Dark Moon Clef. If you want to come on a DK or something. I'll just create one. We'll just do 10. Just so I can do some more conduit of the Celestials. I think anything under a 10 and you're going to get very little value. Which build was it? It was this one, right? I'm just going to turn the light on quickly. It's so dark in here. Oh, let there be light. I can actually see again. Ooh. Hess Doctor. What a name. What's Vryanov? What is that server? I thought there were only 2 servers. I thought there was only Fireack and Irikdakon? Iridikon? Irakadon? Oh, I don't know what these... They come up with... The dragon names are too complicated. I also need to make this key. I need to actually craft it in my bags. What do I have at the moment on this character? I don't think I have anything. So you need to get a Dark Flame Cleft key. And then you need to have a set to the 10. I wish you could do this on retail. Just cook up your own key. That'd make things so much easier. Yeah. Dark Flame Cleft, and now it is a 10. It's just that easy. And I want to restock on potions as well. Annoyingly, you can't... I haven't found a way to get mana oil on the PTR. I feel like the only way you can do it is by crafting it, and I'm not coming on the PTR to craft. I'm telling you right now. I refuse. That's the one thing that I don't have. And food as well, actually. I think I have a couple more foods here, but I think you'd actually have to go talk to Nomi and do some cooking, and I refuse. I don't do professions on retail. I'm not starting them now on the PTR. Yeah, absolutely not. Like, the only time I did professions this season was at the start of the launch of The War Within. And then I just stopped. I was like, no, I'm not collecting herbs any longer. I don't play the game to collect herbs. I'm so bougie. No, herb collecting's beneath me. No, I just CBA. Also, alchemy pissed me off as well, right? At the start of the season, like, you learn to make alchemy potions by, like... I forget what it was called, but you could learn alchemy potions, and one was, like, a risky one, but had a chance where you'd explode. So you'd spend all this time collecting the mats for it, it would explode, you'd learn nothing. And I was just like, what is this? I've collected all of this for nothing. And that was when I stopped doing professions. Joke's on me, though. I have to buy everything from the auction house, and it's not cheap at the start of the expansion. I would advise anyone that's doing any raiding or anything to stock up on supplies now, because the moment Season 2 releases, prices are going to go through the roof. I'm 90% sure we're keeping the same healing potions, and I'm pretty sure we're keeping the same tempered potions as well, and I wouldn't be surprised if we keep the same flasks. Predominantly because there's no new ones on the PTR that I'm aware of. So if you can stock up now, definitely do. Because the prices are going to skyrocket the first week of raid. Please join my group. Are you still deciding what to play then, Spook? Is that what you're doing on the PTR then, testing-wise? What's an Holy Set like? That's so annoying. I can't even see what your spec does, or your set piece does by looking over it. Kind of who came up with this? I swear you used to be able to look over... Oh, yeah, these are the exact same then. In the sense that all of these sets seems to have this, like, winning streak bonus, right? They're all RNG based. The set pieces are so boring this season. Like, I get the gimmick is gambling and casinos and goblins but making all of the set pieces have, like, literally the exact same mechanic is... Yeah, it's a bit lazy. Like, there's not much creativity there. You decided to go Blood DK and Windwalker for Season 2. I played in Season 1, and Windwalker's mega fun. Yeah, man. It is mega fun. Blood DK is a good one as well. I think it's one of the better tanks. Whenever I get a group and have a Blood DK, I always feel, like, satisfied that everything's going to get CC'd, and we're not going to have worry about things getting grouped up. The Blood DK is always a good tank. They also can just survive anything, right? What's that? My group's wiped? I'll just solo this boss on my own. I don't need a group. And yeah, Windwalker is fun. It's very niche, but it's just a hell of a lot of fun. Is there any way to buy enchants? Yes. Yes? If you talk to the Vino II, the equipment enhancer, and like scroll through a bit once you get past all the gemstones, in Stormwind. There's an entire like list of enchants. You can enchant rings, weapons, whatever you want. Where are you right now? Yeah, if you come to Stormwind, he's in the middle of Stormwind, right next to where you bought your set pieces and stuff. You can buy all your enchantments. You're undead? Oh, well, then I have no idea where you... Go to Ogrimmar, then. I don't know. It'll be... Wherever you bought your set tier piece in Ogrimmar, he'll be there. There'll be someone there, though. It should be called the Equipment Enhancements vendor. Oh my god, an undead. I'd start tanking just so I can play the game more and start enjoying it more. Yeah, I mean, in terms of tanking, whenever I level up a character, I will tank because, one, you're always getting insta Qs right. Like, when you try and queue up as a DPS, I find that you spend half your time, like, waiting for a group, especially when leveling. But even at, like, max level, right? If you're playing a tank and you're like, oh, what dungeon shall I do today? Ah, this one, I'll queue up. Insta invite. Come play with us, please. So that's the one good, like, upside of playing tank, I guess, is that you actually get to play the game when you want to play the game. Which is like a DPS's worst nightmare, right? When we want to play a game, we have to factor in the fact that you're going to have to spend at least, like, 5 to 10 minutes queuing up, getting rejected 20 times. Healers as well. Healers as well get, like, insta groups. Ooh. Cool, we have a group. Set Mythic, please. Yes, sir. Defo not leveling this outlaw as undead. What are the good races for Rogue? What's Rogue's main secondaries? Crit, I'd imagine, right? Crit haste? Not haste, right? Or I guess it depends on your spec, actually. Crit mastery? 5 to 10 minutes off meta spec DPS. Jeez, you can go hours without an invite. Oh no. I usually form my own group, so this time that I spend, I refuse to go into Mythic Plus. Like, I genuinely refuse to queue up for dungeons. I'm not spending my time getting rejected for hours on end. I just absolutely refuse to do it. It's not happening. So what I'll end up doing is, yeah, I guess 5 to 10 minutes making my own key. Mostly dwarf is Biss, or go Nelf for another stealth. Yeah, I thought I leveled up a dwarf for my second monk. The racial's really useful, actually. Like, you can go on bosses like Sikrin and stuff like that, and you get the dot on you and you just cleanse it. You're like, okay, mechanic over. I didn't realize there were useful racials like that. Like, as a Void Elf, I guess you get the increased damage, right? Which is, like, really cool. And min-maxing DPS. But as a Windwalker monk, shooting out a void zone that you teleport to, absolutely pointless. Like, genuinely, like, when are you going to do that? I guess when you don't have a roll-up, which is never? What's wrong with undead? I don't know. I've never really gone undead. I don't thematically like the player models so much. But I'm a very basic bitch. I like human models. Like, I would never play a Tauren, for instance, if you know what I mean. Like, I'm very basic in my... If I could go human, I probably would go human. I thought the DK was here. But human racials are awful. I remember when the human racial used to be like the best racial. It used to remove everything. I don't think it does anymore, does it? It like only removes certain things. It used to be so good for PvP. Human, very basic bitch. Yeah. I'm not hiding it. Undead as a human model just merely slouched. Yeah, it's also like the missing jaws and stuff, and they got like they got body parts falling off. They are... I don't like the aesthetic. I'm very much a blood elf, void elf, human player. I have a metal jaw, thank you very much. Okay, metal jaw. I think when I think about undead player models, I think more so of like the classic ones where they do genuinely just miss jaws. And they just look ridiculous. I suppose on theme though, they are undead. Okay, that happened. I just got meleeed by all three of those. I was pretty sure he had aggro because they were not focused on me. I was wrong. One strike of the Windlord and they just one-shot me. Oh, I didn't want to pop cooldowns there, but I was so poorly hasted. Oh my god. I feel like a warrior. I go into this pack and press one button, I suddenly have aggro. That's not very monk. Oh, that's so annoying. I don't know if you noticed, but my Celestial Conduit instantly cancelled there. Yeah, there is a bug with Celestial Conduit where sometimes it will just instantly cancel. Nothing you can do about it. It's just another one of those monk bugs. I've had it on retail as well. When I played Celestial Conduit a bit in dungeons. Like, it will literally just cancel itself. You won't get Unity within, you won't get any of the damage off. It will just stop. The only real way to cancel it otherwise is to do like a damaging ability or something, or get CC'd. But there's just a bug where it will just stop channeling. It's the same with spinning crane kick. You can also just instantly stop channeling spinning crane kick. Honestly, same for crackling jade lightning as well. Any channel spells, except I don't think fists. I think fists are safe. Not that Fist is without its bugs. In Dragonflight, there was a bug with Fist of Fury where the cone went through the floor. So you'd cast Fist of Fury, but some monks were bugged and some weren't. And if you were, you had to like angle your character like this to hit anything. That was a cool bug. But yeah, that Celestial Conduit bug is going to be really annoying. Because obviously all your damage comes from the Unity within afterwards. So if the full channel doesn't go off, you're just going to lose everything. All your haste, all your cooldown reduction, it's going to feel awful. But it is just a thing that happens. I'm not sure the root cause of it. There have been issues with channeling for Monk the entire expansion. Like, I've been keeping tabs on it on, like, Peak of Serenity. But, they struggle to work out what the cause of it is. Which is probably the worst part, because no cause, how can you fix it? You know what I mean? But yeah, that's going to feel atrocious. Just something to look forward to, guys. You've had your perfect pull on your progress raid boss. And Celestial Conduit doesn't work. Okay. Yeah, no, it happened to me on retail, and I was so confused by it that I was recording at the time for footage, and I literally went back through my recordings and like frame for framed it to see if it was anything I did. So I imagined in my head that I'd like casted something else. Like that seemed like the most likely scenario of what had happened. I'd cast mid Celestial, and I did nothing. My character was stood still. At the bottom I have my bars that show me what I've previously casted, which helped a lot. But I couldn't for the life of me work out what it was. It's just a bug. On top of the bug where Unity Within might not even proc... Like, it's meant to proc automatically when you finish Celestial Conduit. Like, just naturally, that's how it works. Except you have, like, a roughly 1 in 10 chance of that not happening. So that can happen as well. So I would advise, if you're running Celestial Conduit, to proc it yourself by pressing the ability again before the channel ends. Otherwise, you might run into the situation where you just don't get Unity Within, and that feels just as bad as the entire spell cancelling. Yeah, one thing about monks is we're so buggy. We have so many bugs. What? Where did the boss go? I popped all my cooldowns! Bro, there ain't no way. Oh my god, rest in peace my cooldown. I have Celestial, I guess. I have Celestial Conduit. Oh. I guess. I did pop Swan, though, and Storm, Earth, and Fire, but I guess that's not my main... I mean, it is my main damage, but I want PI. God damn it. If I can get PI, I'll lie for it. I definitely did pop my big cooldowns. What is going on? What is going on? What was that? Oh my god. Sorry, I'm just reading pie chat. It's just the way the druid was like, first time? This is your first time in this dungeon? Pretty much, yeah, I've done this boss once. So is the DK and the healer. Not DK. DK knows what's up. You should have hit the bomb. You seem to know what's going on. This is all on you. You have to blow up a bomb? I didn't even know there was a bomb. I'll be 100% honest. Where's this bomb I'm hearing about? On the minecart. I don't see a bomb. Okay. I didn't see the boss either, apparently. Oh, this. Okay, I see the bomb. How did I miss that? Womp womp. Yeah, a little bit of a womp womp. Yeah, for a long time back in Legion, you were Shadow Priest Undead with a missing jaw just because they thought the tongue feature was funny. See, I'm the exact opposite. I think that tongue feature is nah. Yeah, I don't want that on my model. Is there monk bug where spinning crane kick stops almost instantly? Yeah, there is. That's a big one. The Celestial Conduit one's lesser known because no one's really played Celestial Conduit, right? It's only really getting like noticed now. It's been since the launch, and the spinning crane kick one's been around as well, except that was a lot more noticed because obviously everybody here is spinning crane kicks. Yeah, really annoying bugs, and there's no real like fix to them. It seems to be something to do with channeling and Windwalker monks, where we'll channel and yep. My tank got one shot. My tank got one shot. I popped on my cooldowns. This group is so good. This group's so disbanding. There's no way someone's not leaving. It's going to be the DH if anyone leaves. Just because that's what DH players do. He doesn't have all day to do this. No body shaming. Alright, no more undead shaming. Now imagine when it hits retail. Gengar, this bug's already in retail. Oh, do you mean the boss or do you mean the bugs? The bugs are already in retail. Like, they... if we're talking about the bugs, like, they're already a thing. They're not going anywhere. Blizzard ain't gonna fix that. Oh, this boss. I think it will be alright, to be honest. I think, like, bosses like this that you watch me wipe on a few times, it's just because, like... I mean, all these new dungeons and stuff are going to be wiped best at the start, right, when no one knows what's going on. That's just how it's going to be. I think there are worse bosses than this, though. I think the Rookery second boss is gonna... People are going to lose their minds on that one, I'll be honest. Thanks, Dad. But we got the cart. That's progress, right? What is this melee damage? Will play my warrior and Windwalker next year. Got to play the warrior and raid as we need battle shout. Otherwise, I'll probably reroll the monk. Super fun. Yeah, hopefully warriors get... Oh, the guy left. That's a shame. Hopefully warriors get a bit of a buff, because obviously they're like mandatory in raid, but it almost feels like bad that if there aren't like ads on a fight or single target, it just feels awful being a warrior at the moment. But they are getting PTR buffs. They got some big ones last week. But at least your at least warriors raid buff does something. Monk's raid buff is oh, it's not good. What do I have? Did the key stay the same? Challenge me to a duel. I don't PvP. Oh, sorry. I will, oh, no, I will duel you. I pressed escape by accident. I will duel you, but I don't PvP. Alright. How long am I streaming today? I was about to say that I'll be finishing in a couple of minutes, so I can't do another dungeon. But I will duel you. I will duel you. Haha, paralyzed. Where did you go? Slicing winds did 10 million damage. That was all on your ads, though. Your ads just got absolutely rinsed. Yeah, sorry, guys. I did want to finish with that Dark Flame Clef, but I do have to head out this evening. It's why I streamed a little bit earlier today. But yeah, really thank you so much for everybody watching today. It's been a lot of fun. And as I mentioned a few times, I have a Discord server if you want to hop in there. Keep updated on videos. I am going to work on the macro video tomorrow. I was going to do it yesterday, but I pretty much the whole day ended up being spent on making the Discord. So I wanted a place where I can actually say, guys, I'm live streaming so people know what's actually going on. Kind of helps, right, when you're informed. So yeah, I don't know if the macro video will be out tomorrow because I'm going to work on it during the day, but I've got raid in the evening, so as soon as possible, that will be out. That should be cool. In terms of streaming next week, Wednesday, I'll be doing PTR raid bosses and then potentially retail. On Thursday, I think I'll probably stream again. Actually, no. Well, it depends. It depends what you want to watch, because on Thursdays are my raid days, so I haven't decided if it's worth like properly streaming retail at the moment, because it's all content everyone's familiar with. PTR's exciting, right? It's all new stuff. And there'll be a lot of raid streams coming up in the future. When the new season drops and I'm in Liberation of the Undermined my entire life, like my character will live there. I'll definitely stream on Saturday, so it might just be 2 streams next week. I'll feel out if there's interest in people watching Nurabar Palace, but I know it's like it's not exciting. It's not fresh. More viewer keys. Yeah, you know, I put a thing in the Discord to see if anybody's interested in doing some keys. I might have to put some disclaimers that we might need a few other classes than Windwalker. But if anyone's interested in doing some dungeon keys, yeah, I'll definitely put something into the Discord about that, because that'll be fun, actually having a group. And then if you leave, I'll know who you are. So you can't leave my group. You're stuck with me, I'm not stuck with you. Oh no, that's alright, Gengar. You're alright. Going to Netherlands. Oh, that sounds fun. I've only been to Amsterdam once, but I really enjoyed Netherlands. It's so flat there. And everybody rides bikes. Those are my 2 takeaways from an entire country. Netherlands summarized in 2 sentences. It's flat and they ride bikes. No, I really like them. I really like Amsterdam. I only spent 2 days there, but yeah, really nice country. Yeah, so many bikes. Like when I was trying to walk around the city there, it was like, oh my god, dodging like no cars, like literally no cars, but you're trying to dodge like hundreds and hundreds of people on bikes. I'm like, how are they so synchronized? How are they not crashing? They've got it all worked out. 10 days. Damn, that'll be nice. That'll be fun. I need to go on holiday at some point. I went to Lisbon last year. That was really nice. I don't often go on holidays, but I managed to get like a 5-day holiday in Lisbon. I'd never been to Portugal before. Oh my god, amazing. Gorgeous country. And like I compared that summer to this summer. Like it was so hot in Portugal, right? But it didn't feel hot because I'm so used to awful British heat. Yeah. I very much envy the other like European countries that aren't this humid. But yeah, that's a little bit of a tangent rant. But yes, Wednesday definitely streaming, Saturday definitely streaming, Saturday dungeons, Wednesday bosses, and potentially a stream in between those, and a video coming out soon. So yeah, that's the TLDR of what's going on in the future. And yeah, once again, Discord server, guys. It's the best place that you'll get updates and everything. Don't have to join, but it'll be cool. And yeah, I appreciate you all hanging out today. Everybody chatting, all the lurkers. I love lurkers. I'm a lurker as well, guys. If I watch a stream, I am not a chatter. So I appreciate all of you. Anyone that's watched from start to end. And we're getting to another outro for a stream where I don't know how to end a stream properly because I'm so awkward. But yeah, no, appreciate it. Thank you for everybody hanging out, everybody watching, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, guys. I'll catch you on Wednesday. It's Wednesday, my dudes.